So let's get started. Do you hear me loud and clear, Frank?
Yeah, hey, you're pretty good, man.
Yeah, good, perfect. This one is going to be an interesting one, and I hope we can pull this off. Um, Let me just talk about what this podcast is all about. We did another one earlier, and I will release that as soon as possible. It's around 50, 44, 46, 47%. Um, and I will release it this evening, and then this one in a couple of days. And let me
Yeah,
just give
I'm
me.
sitting here and I don't want to say this again, but now my left flank, maybe from lifting water bottles or my bad posture when I sit down, but remember I always told you, man, the minute I feel any kind of ache on any side of my flanks, I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. They
It
didn't see
puts
any
you
stones per se.
in a heightened alert status, right?
Yeah, I mean, after all, so would you. I mean, when you went through this. So I've been like a little bit cautious today because of that. Because anytime, when you go through something I did, you become very aware of every little ache in that area. You're thinking, oh God, could it be another, am I going to need a CT scan or something, which I'd have to go to Cebu and all that shit. But anyway, before we go on, yeah, I've spent a lot of time researching some legal stuff today,
Yeah.
is what I actually did in between our time doing a recording this morning, actually. So a lot of interesting stuff I read, and I'm just getting more knowledgeable and more knowledgeable. And I will say to people that it's not worth, I don't know, just stay out of trouble, even if
Especially
you
in the
don't
Philippines.
cause. Yeah, because what you have to go through is not a funny thing at all. And these agencies are not very cooperative, and they got their own premise, or they got their own. Now I'm trying to think of the word on here, but you can't. You basically are in charge of yourself, and never mind your lawyers, because they're just paper pushers, and they show up in court and stuff like that. You have to be your own advocate. And I realize that more and more and more, it's not worth it. You don't like somebody, well, that's fine. But don't start something that you can't finish, is what I'm going to say,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's grueling for the person you're accusing, and it's grueling for the person that's the accuser.
Yeah, yeah.
And bad ramifications could come out of this. But anyway, let's begin. I know you and I have
Okay.
talked in private
Yeah. I
many
would like
times.
to
That's this show.
Yeah, I would like to tell
There's
our
a
listeners what this podcast is all about, and in the same time, I want to tell you what this podcast is all about. Because today I want to talk openly, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. My name is Alle de Winter, I'm here with Frank Battaglia. And today I want to talk openly with you, Frank, about the last few years, weeks and months, of course.
years,
Yeah,
not the last few weeks. But anyway, all
yeah,
right. Yeah, okay.
because
Let's
this is what I want to tell
encompass.
you, our listeners out there. Over the
Okay, let's
years,
do it, man.
yeah,
Let's do it.
okay.
Let's
Over
do it.
over the years, we've exchanged countless emails and conversations, especially in the last few weeks and months since we started to do these podcasts together. And I think I have gained insights into your personality and behavior that most people in the audience never get to see. Many of them will not be surprised, but and
Uh-oh.
many of them might have an idea about what I'm going to say now, or
This
all the
doesn't
things that
sound
are.
very supportive, but go ahead.
Yeah, because that's exactly what I addressed that real quick. One thing I realized is that the version people see publicly is not always the same version I experience privately here, and that's in your case. Some people might say, no, that's not really true. Frank is exactly the way he is online. It's the same person offline, and I must say that I noticed, and of course this goes both ways because I will also address that, and you will have the chance to talk about this, in detail. Privately, I often experience that you are extremely impatient and somehow sensitive to criticism, highly reactive, and very focused on controlling
I'll take the first one. Impatient would
situations.
be
Yeah,
correct.
but
I don't
hang on a
agree
second,
on
that
the others.
because I
No,
have
no.
you will have more than enough time to address this, all of this. I just want people to get a better overview of what this is all about. And I would also
Yes,
want to
sir.
make something clear. Despite disagreements and sometimes even insults, I never really insulted you personally when I, because I look at this more analytically. Okay, let's use that word, because for me online shows are often performance. It's like commentary and persona, but I've noticed, Frank, that with you, emotions seem to become very real very quickly. And interestingly, years ago during live streams, I did all these live streams about you, I already described you in a certain way. And now, after much more direct communication with you, I'm surprised that a lot of that is very accurate, that these observations that I made turned out to be very, very accurate. And so I would like to ask you some direct questions here, because I think the audience deserves to understand these dynamics. So
They don't deserve anything, but go ahead.
yeah, my first question would be, why is it so important to you that things happen immediately? I mean, in emails, you often seem frustrated if a podcast or upload doesn't happen right away. And why?
Okay.
Yeah,
No, let me answer that step by step. Yeah,
yeah.
I've always been rather impetuous. I've always been rather impatient. I want it to happen yesterday, not today or tomorrow. That's pretty much always been part of my personality. I don't like waiting for something. I don't have that kind of patience. That goes along with the anxiety, I guess. I just don't have a lot of patience. I want things to happen now and not to wait. And, a lot of people too, you live in the Philippines, you'll understand about patience, waiting to go to a bank or something to see a teller or whatever it might be, waiting in line somewhere or a doctor's office or whatever it might be. It'll drain the patience out of you. And a lot of people have talked about that in their experience of living in the Philippines. You have to learn to have patience, but it's very, very hard out here. I think I had more patience when I lived in America than I do here. I think, it's such a different scenario out here, and different environment with things happening, not the way you want. Things happen very slowly out here, and it really affects a lot of people. You hear them complaining about it on their shows all the time, historically. I've heard that more times than I can count, that it's very frustrating. So, yes, on number one question, yeah, I am very impetuous. I'm impatient. That's why I never have any patience if I was a doctor, I just act upon the moment, basically. I could assess, my thoughts and stuff, but I can be very reactive to something, and I know where this next question was leading to. We'll go on to the next question,
Yeah.
because I know it's a
So
lead
because
off
because
from the first
it seems
question.
it seems to me that these delays, as you called them, it affects you emotionally. It affects you
Yeah.
so strongly, and you said yes, you are like that, and I give you credit for that, because you are very
Yes,
honest
yes,
about
yes.
it. But why?
I'm very impatient. I'm very impatient. If I'm expecting something in the mail, for example, or like back in America, maybe I got a check coming or something, or some form or whatever. I say, where the fuck is there a package coming? Yeah, I get rather uncomfortable with that. That's nothing unusual for a lot of people either, really. When you have expectations, oh, well, when is this? He sold a house. Okay. okay, when are we going to get through the escrow here? I mean, how long is it going to take to cut me a check or send me, or whatever the hell, and how things move in the world these days. It moves slow all over the world. However, but here in the Philippines, it's a snail's pace. And if you're going to live out here, that's one thing that you have to keep in mind. Bite your tongue, bite a piece of leather, listen to some, I don't know, just listen to little thoughts in your head, a song you like or something, or occupy yourself, if you're going to be waiting in a long line or you're in a very uncomfortable situation, you have to deal with that. And I deal with it in my own ways. But like, for example, if you say we're going to do a show, okay, I say, okay, well, when do you want to do it? And then you say, oh, I'll get around to it. You're pushing me, and then I get pissed off at that, saying, well, fucking A, man, I don't have my own show. Okay, so I'm reliant, if I want to get a word out of something, I'm reliant of doing these podcasts with you because I will not be on YouTube again, apparently. Kind of looking that way in my mind. So I don't want to be dependent on your podcast, but it is a good way to vent and to share things that you've learned in regards to the community, but not to make the community like a major point in your life. It's just fucking YouTube losers. But it's interesting to be able to react. That's the only thing I miss of having my own show. I want to be dependent on somebody to do a podcast. But like when I had a show, come on anytime I want, talk about anything I want. I didn't have to wait for permission for somebody. Okay, well, I'm busy. I'll do this. Don't worry. I'll upload this later or something. And I have to depend on that. But I still won't do my own show. I'm still sticking to that. It's just been nothing but trouble. But all right, in long form, in short form, the first answer is yes. I am impatient. I think I've always been that way. The anxiety has to do with it. I don't like waiting at all for anything. Even my girlfriend. Ask her a question.
I'm
waiting for an answer, and I'm not getting an answer right away, and I'll ask the question again. I'm very impatient with that.
Yeah.
It's just my makeup. It's just who I am. It's nothing evil. It's nothing bad. It's just, you either have a lot of patience or you don't. And I'm not one for waiting for anything. I said, look,
but do you think that, Frank? Do you think that do you think that your impatience sometimes creates unnecessary conflict?
It can, certainly. Of course, anything's possible. But I go by me, not what the other person thinks. I mean, if you're going to ask me a question, for example, okay, I'm just trying to find something here. If somebody asks me, a question, and let's say I don't answer it, right? You're going to say, well, I've asked you a question. How come you're not answering it for me? Then there's procrastination. Yeah, that'll kind of piss somebody off a little bit and feel like they're being ignored or something. And you may not want to answer their question, in spite. But yes, I am a person that prefers, I'd rather use the word prefers, that something gets done in an expedient way. And I don't think I'm asking that much, but you can't expect that of everybody. I can't expect it of my partner. I can't expect it of anybody, really. It's just who I am. And if it's uncomfortable to somebody, I don't know what to say, except that's kind of how I operate. I'm not a criminal because of that either.
Yeah, and I understand that. I'm not saying that. You often accuse other people of manipulation. You have done that in the emails to me. And don't you think that when you constantly try to pressure people to act quickly, that in itself becomes a form of manipulation? Because you said you should act, you should do something.
With that.
You don't agree with that. Why is that?
Well, first of all, I've been manipulated so much. It's just we're getting very deep into this. I mean, sometimes I think back when I had this hearings going on in Hawaii and you actually came on, fucking Skype, pretending you were me. Of course, that pissed me off. I think that was balls, man. You should never have done anything like that at all. And I have a good memory, and these are scars for me. And just even doing our podcast, I think, what's Alo's purpose for all this? To find fault with me and disguising it under something else, like the questions you're asking me about my personality, that I will treat with kid gloves. But I have reason to be pissed off at you with the history that you've done and research on family and everything else, and saying everything you did about me, and then a very illegal situation, a civil thing that was going on with a tenant, that you had the galls and balls to come on Skype and pretend you were drunk and it was me. It makes me wonder, where is this going to lead to? Because I'm going to have my part in this too,
Yeah.
where I question your psychology in a very deep way.
Yeah. Let me just add, Frank. I will give you the opportunity to talk
Because you
about
could
that.
be
The
vicious
details.
when you could be vicious
In
when you
detail.
want to be vicious. I mean, I'm talking about overdrive, man. Like I've never seen it in my life. I've never seen anybody do some of the things you do. And I know you feel protected. People will know who you are, what you look like. And you can get away with that kind of shit. I guess you have this poetic license to do what you do. But yes, we're not the best of friends. We're doing shows together and we're talking about things. I don't forget.
Frank, we will get to that point in the second part of the show where you can go into details because.
Well, as long as this show, and I'm getting the feeling that it's just attack on my personality.
No, it is not.
It's an attack on my character. You're trying to get me to be open about. It's like you're acting on a part of a psychoanalyst right now, trying to get to the bottom of what's Frank all about. I'll tell you what I'm all about. I'm just a guy that speaks the truth. He's honest about what he says. He's honest about himself. And, I don't take any prisoners.
I understand that, and that's absolutely fair. My question would be, why is it that you sometimes get angry so fast when things don't go exactly the way you want it?
Well, impatience, we were talking about that. It's really impatience. No, it doesn't always have to go the total way I want things. I would prefer, of course, like anything in life, that things go your way. Of course, that's just human condition. But not everything goes your way, and not everything in life is going to go your way. And you have to realize that. Of course, you prefer if things go your way. Like I worked very hard on the Jordan situation. I was very satisfied. Like people who watch Pimple Popper that like to see the pus come out of some oozing, wound or something. Some people have a fetish with that. Well, mine is justice. It's when you worked hard on something and it pays off. That's like that festering pustule that you pop and you watch all the pus ooze out of it. Well, I did that with somebody. And yes, it gave me a lot of satisfaction. I know I don't have a pet peeve with pus coming out of an animal's hoof or anything coming out of a human. I find it gross, but I've seen the shows. But there's a certain sense of satisfaction that you get at, easing something, get the pressure out, let it ooze out, get it all out, and the pressure will be better and you'll heal better. And I heal better when I accomplish something that needed to be accomplished.
Yeah. I have a few questions about comments and criticism because we spoke about that earlier on the other podcasts, and you have asked me multiple times to remove comments or block people when we publish the podcasts. And my question would be, why do comments from strangers, and that's what they are in most cases, why do these comments bother you so much?
Well, it encourages other people to do the same. And if you're going to do a show, like a live stream or something, you don't want it to turn into a Big Kevin 3-ring circus, is what I'm saying. And when it turns into a 3-ring circus, that's when I used to block people. I used to block people because I didn't want any distractions. I'm, say, doing a live stream and you get some trolls coming in. I don't want to give them the credit of having anything to say because they don't deserve it, okay? Knowing historically their past, and I know they're going to come on just to try to disrupt the conversation or the whole flow of the live stream. So yes, I use that poetic license. I do, and I have, and I always will, to have some control of my channel, because you don't necessarily need a moderator. You could do that shit yourself. In fact, moderators will turn on you and they'll get rid of people on there that you don't know are being get rid of without your permission. I always thought moderation was stupid. But no, it's my channel. I have control of it. And if there's somebody I really don't like on there, they're making a really lame comment that I think goes a little bit beyond the boundaries of what I'm willing to accept on the comments section on my YouTube channel. If it's not acceptable to me, then it's not acceptable to the public. And people that don't know me, that are going to make wrong characterizations, for example, of myself and who I am. And people are very vulnerable and gullible, and they'll believe things that people say. In other words, you don't want to rub salt in a wound. And that's what it really comes down to. If they were on my show, former show, saying these derogatory comments, I mean, I've heard enough of them. And I'm trying to keep the show clean at times, and I don't need to hear all this stuff. You can talk about things and shit, but
Yeah,
go to
but
the
don't
Kevin
you
show
don't
or
you
something
think that
like
they
that.
will, if they don't do it on your channel, that it will just create the situation that they will do it on other channels, like on the Copycat
Oh, yeah.
channel, on Popeye's channel, on other
I
channels.
can't stop that. I can't stop that. That's their show. It's their channel.
But let
They
me
can do
ask
what
you,
they want.
because you seem to be a guy who is confident, and if somebody is confident in their arguments, why not let criticism remain visible and then address it that way?
Yeah, so I don't want to get aggressive. I've done that in the past. It doesn't work. It's not healthy anyway. Somebody's going to say something nasty about you, whether you like it or not, and why do you have to give into that stuff to give them credit? You don't want to allow them to have that moment in the sun, that 15 minutes of fame or whatever you want to call it. You don't want to give them the satisfaction of that, is what it is. They can say what they want on somebody else's show. I can't stop them. I'm not on YouTube anyway. I don't give a fuck anymore.
But that's the way you see it, Frank. Why not look at it in a different way? Because you said you don't want to give them the 15 minutes in the sun, right? But why don't you look at it as a reaction that you are pissing them off, that they don't like you, you make them feel maybe annoyed or upset about you, and I think that's worth something.
No, that's a personal problem. That's a personal problem. If something I say annoys them, there's got to be something bothering them about what I said. Like perhaps it was the truth, and they're being very defensive, and that's the way I've always seen it. I've played this over and over again in my mind and on my shows, that the biggest tool I've ever used on my show, again for the 1400th time, taking out that dusty old big mirror, and putting it in front of these people and allowing them to see what they really look like. They don't like what they look like, and of course they're going to get very defensive, then they will get offensive. It's been the same pattern for over a decade I've ever been on YouTube. Nothing's changed with that. It's the same thing. It's predictable. You can set it on your clock. It's predictable how they're going to act, and I act accordingly. I use a little psychology, as Ricky would say, psychology. I use a little psychology on these people because I know how they're going to react to me. How do you think Barry? I mean, I knew how he's going to react if I said something on here. I wanted to bring the evidence out as much as I can. I wanted to hear the true Barry. I want to know how he really felt about me. I want to hear him repeat himself to what he said about me. So basically, I used what everybody does on YouTube, a little bit of clip, a little bit of bait, put the worm on the hook and let them go and bite it. And they just kill themselves. They get caught, their dinner for tonight, or, tossed in the trash bag or whatever. I use my own psychology with these people. And I did it for the whole decade that I was, or so, maybe more actually, that I've been on YouTube. I knew exactly what I was doing. I know what would trigger them, and I used it as they used it on me, and it worked. I used to get triggered in the past quite a bit, but that was a long time ago. I'm so used to, I know the flow of everything.
But again, why is it that negative comments make you feel misunderstood or attacked or disrespected, and why do you why do these disagreements?
If it's a negative comment, you better back up your comment, is what I'm saying. You can say anything on here you want, but you need to back it up with facts and truth. Otherwise, it's just not valid. It's invalid. You can say anything you want on YouTube. It doesn't mean it's the truth. So if somebody's going to call me a scumbag or call me an e-beggar, which I'm not, where am I e-begging? Where am I e-begging? One time I had a GoFundMe on there, and they destroyed it. You helped destroy it too, by the way. And, it was an innocent thing to help some people out. It was quite innocent. But they didn't want to see me make any money in that because they all figured, oh, Frank's going to put it in his fucking pocket. And that wasn't true. but I don't want to go back into history too far. But that's actually what happened. I meant well for a certain community, as well as I've done wonderful things for my community out here. That's never changed. I mean, I enjoyed being around the kids, teaching them some other English words when I was in TISA, and the people around there thought it was wonderful. So wonderful that this woman that you know from Florida thought it was wonderful too, and she wanted to help the kids out, and that's what started off this whole thing. I was a catalyst in a lot of stuff, good and bad, really. It's according to what people made out of it, you know, and I did very good for any community I've ever been in. I was accepted, you know, I was one of the people. I didn't look down my nose because I made more money per month than these Filipinos living in such a horrid little community in TISA, you know, and this impoverished way of living, which I didn't look down on it because, you know, I came from a relatively poor family. Well, I wasn't relatively poor. You know, they were poor. My father was no executive and all that. He didn't constantly work all the time once he got jobs and worked for somebody painting and stuff, you know, and got to the point even my mother had to go to work for a while because things was just really not going as scheduled all the time. And you got to do what you had to do. And I understood that, you know. So, you know, you try to do good and you hope you see people, you know, that realize you're doing something nice and that you don't have to. You're not forced to do it. I don't want an award or a medal, but shit, if I had to remember every single thing I've done since I've come to the Philippines, that was actually an act of kindness to somebody. You know, most people wouldn't believe it and say, yeah, Frank, you made that up, but that's not true. I've done a lot of acts of kindness out here. I do it all the time when I can and according to what the situation is. But I still stand my ground with locals, too. I still stand my ground. That doesn't stop. It doesn't mean you have to be stepped on by people. I won't allow that to happen. I don't care what country I'm in. If somebody's doing wrong to me, overcharging me or something, or saying libelous things to me, I'm going to address it. And obviously, you know, well, that's history. You know, I've been doing that all along very well, in fact, actually.
I understand
My
that, yeah.
you know, my character is really, I can be very reactive, but I do it in a different way than most people do. You know, as far as comments are concerned, sure, I read all this negative stuff about me all the time. You know, all the players on here, but they're not going to say anything nice about me. It doesn't mean they don't like me either. A lot of them actually do. They will not tell you that. They just want to be accepted in the community of hate and whatever, you know, and just, you know, be respected by the other trolls. It really, a lot of it does come down to that. They used to enjoy coming to my shows all the time, especially back in the heyday, a little bit more. But, you know, it all comes down to one thing. They want to feel part of something they think is bigger and greater than what they are because they don't really have a lot going on in their life. I've figured that out down to a, you know, you know, it's definitely, you know,
So you're basically saying, Frank, so you're basically saying that a lot of people in this community misunderstand you?
I think no, I think they understand me very well. The opposite. I think they understand me very well. They know pretty much the life I'm living out here because, you know, I'm highly personal. I shouldn't be. But if I had something to hide, then I wouldn't be so personal. I mean, that's the best answer I can give on it. I wouldn't be so personal if I had something
But you
to
know,
hide.
the thing is this: when you talk about personal things and all that,
you shouldn't, though. You shouldn't, really. On here, you shouldn't, because they used to use that against you, like you have and everybody else have, you know. So,
but do you feel that people use that against you?
That's why I think Mad Matthew's doing something wrong. He's going to pay for later on. Because he is getting a little too personal, and they will use that information against him. And he'll see it's going to happen.
But look, you know, Frank, when you still had your show, you still had your channel, you constantly felt attacked by people online, and therefore you would
I was being attacked.
And why is that? Why do you think that conflict is basically part of your YouTube career?
No, that's part of their thing. Conflict is part of their gig, not mine. They want me to be reactive. That's the whole part, so they could talk about it elsewhere, whether it's Discord, whether it's on the Copycat, Popeye, or anybody out there. They just want some material. So what they try to do, I've seen them do this to a lot of people too through the years. They try to aggravate him to get him mad, and they say something that they shouldn't say that they could use against him, either legally or personally or whatever. I mean, shit, man, I'm not that fucking stupid. I'm no college professor, but I could see through people pretty well. It's a gift or a curse. It's according to how you want to look at it, really. I could see through people pretty well, And, it's a whole thing even with you. Even though we're having these podcasts, you're still trying to draw information out of me that, maybe not maybe on an inner level, maybe not outward, that, you're trying to get out there, but even realizing that if I say something that's incriminating, it could be used against me, and why not? I mean, Frank is not my hero. Frank is not my best friend, and Frank has spoken his mind against me so many times. So what if
we will get to that. That's probably the most interesting part, or that's going to be the most interesting part of this podcast here. And again, to our listeners, we will get to that part.
It's your intent, yes. And I've been the whole time. Most people don't notice, but the whole time I've ever spoke to Aloe, I've seen different facets of his personality. Well, let me go into this because it's my time to talk a little bit now too.
No, this is the last question here about public versus private persona. Do you think that the public version of Frank is different from the private version? Because that's often a question people have. Is Aloe de Winter, or is Frank Battaglia, or is this guy or that guy, Whoop Whoop, or we mentioned Mad Max and others. Are they the same?
I'm nothing like they label me. No, I'm nothing like that.
No, it's about private versus public persona. Or the Frank we hear right now on this podcast, is that the same Frank in real life? Is private Frank the online Frank? Is that the same person?
I'd say talkative, yes, when I want to be talkative. But I could also be very quiet, too, in a very somber mood. I'm not... if I feel the energy and I feel the motivation, I could be a good motivational speaker, too. When I feel the motivation to talk about something, and I do that with her kids sometimes, too. I try to teach them different things about life and stuff, and, try not to do this and do that. I know, because I lived through this. I've done this and done that. I try to be helpful. I have a lot of mild moments where, I sit around. We don't talk or do nothing. I watch TV. She's on her phone. I'm on my phone. And unless we have something to talk about. I mean, there's not always something to talk about. We're not going on trips and stuff. Of course, we talk to each other here. But, we go about our business during the day like any couple would or anybody else. But, I'm not, yelling around the house all the time. And I'm not giving her speeches all the time. My YouTube personality is a little bit different, other than being very personal and truthful. But my YouTube personality, I mean, if you have a radio station, for example, you can't have dead air. And if I'm listening to Kevin and I used to listen to Roberto and people like that, it's dead air. I don't come on somebody's show to hear dead air. Come on, speed up your speech. Say what you have to say. Regurgitate a few syllables because it's going to make me uninterested to listen. Keep your pace, maybe like I'm talking right now. It's a wonderful pace because you're getting out your thoughts. Yeah. And they don't want to sit there and like this. I'll give you an example. Yeah. Well, the question.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
I couldn't deal with that myself. I've turned off Kevin, Roberto, all the people in the past. I couldn't listen to it, man. You have to have a certain pace to communicate with people on YouTube or podcasts, whatever you might be doing, because people get bored easily. It doesn't matter, even if you repeat yourself, they'd rather you speak more fluently, more at a better pace, to carry things on, to get the information source out, to get what you have to say and say it. I don't want to wait 15 minutes for somebody to ask a question. If somebody asks me a question, I want to answer it as best as I could and as expediently. Yeah. I expect the same from other people. I don't think I'm asking a lot at all. And it goes beyond impatience. It's just common protocol, courtesy, and so forth, etiquette, whatever, it's just, be willing to ask questions as directly as you can and expect a direct answer as quickly as you can, and don't procrastinate and don't try to think of the answer too long, because it means you're guilty of something. If you can't answer my question, I got to think of what to say on this one. Yeah. Hey, somebody asked me a question, I'm out with it. What do you want to know? I tell you, if it's nothing too personal. Just get it out, man. It's just, this is public, this is media. Get it out. I mean, you're on there to do a show. You're on there to say something, so you say something. You don't want to have dead air. So that's how radio stations go off
Do
the
you
air.
think your audience sometimes encourages you, your anger, tries to provoke you, manipulate you, instead of helping you, and you would
I think a lot
react
of people try to
angrily?
manipulate me. A lot of people try to manipulate me, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
And that frustrates them even more when I don't allow it to work. That's why they get mad at me. They don't know me personally. There's only been a few people that's met me. And even those people don't know a lot about me. I met several people. I was cool, calm, and collective. I met Mick Fisher. I met Nico, you know, people like that. And we're in Brevis. I was cool, calm, and collective. Even when I was in the courtroom back in the old, you know, with Barry, when the courtroom days, and what was the town was it? You know, or even back with Fazio, I was in an MBI thing. I was cool, calm, and collective. That's who I am. I let them make a fool out of themselves, and Fazio did. He spoke out three, four times, yelling and whatever. And I was just sitting there, and when he asked me questions, I gave him. I was cool, calm, and collective, like my lawyer asked me to be, and I cooperated. And that's the way I normally am. You just don't go fly off the handle. Have I ever flew off the handle on YouTube? Of course I did. I'm a human. But you see, I've learned from that, you know, from a long time ago. It doesn't serve any purpose to fly off the handle. It's like, don't you talk about my fucking woman. You know, it's like, you know, I had my moments in the sun. I had my 15 minutes out there.
But, you know, if you could change,
angry,
if you could change that, you know, the anger issue or anything else about how you react.
Stop with this fucking anger management shit.
Yeah, but
I don't have an anger problem.
Yeah,
I have a truth problem.
Okay.
I don't have an anger problem. Okay, I speak loud sometimes because I can't hear myself totally. I'm probably speaking louder now. I don't got the best hearing. I don't always hear the volume. They think you're getting mad all the time. I'm not getting mad. I'm just being expressive like I am at this very second. Why are you so upset? I'm not upset. That's the way I talk. I'm intense. I get it out there in a good pace. I say what I need to say. And if you want to call it intense or whatever, I'm not angered all the time. In fact, you know, a lot of this stuff is comedic on YouTube, what they say about me, or they try to catch me in something, and I don't allow them to do it. I know when somebody's baiting me. I knew, oh my God. And I used to bait them back. It's just, you know, tit for tat.
That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point you just raised. Would you say you trust people easily, or do you always expect betrayal or manipulation, or you know that people are putting baits out there?
I don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
I don't even trust my neighbor. I don't trust anybody.
But why is that?
Okay, except my girl. Why? Because trust has to be earned. Okay, and if you haven't earned it with me, then I won't trust you. I didn't trust my own brother. I didn't trust my own sister. You know, I trusted my dogs. All they give is unconditional love. I trust them. I trust my girlfriend because I've been with her over 10 years. I know her ins and outs. Good, bad, ugly, tolerable, intolerable, wonderful, great, fantastic. I mean, you got to be with somebody for a long time to know their whole psyche, to know their whole makeup, and to figure out things that you need to figure out. Is this person real? Blah, blah, blah. You know, you spend enough time with them. You do get to know them intimately in every other way. Unlike, you know, people on YouTube. You don't know people on YouTube intimately, you know. It was never my endeavor to make friends on YouTube. It was never my endeavor. I just came on here to rap, man, to talk and just, you know, share my thoughts and learnings and vent a little bit when I needed to, when I really felt to, because I'm a foreigner living in the Philippines, another country, and a lot of us need to do that. I'll admit that. I absolutely need to do that now and then. It even helps me doing podcasts with you, because I don't talk to anybody else on YouTube on here. There's nobody. You're the only one I talk to on here. I don't talk to anybody. I'm not associated with anybody. But now comes my part. Now, I've always been trying to analyze you for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, you are very secretive about your life, relationships, and everything else. But there's something that with our little secret, well, not secret, but our, you know, emails and stuff. The one thing I have noticed about you, it's very apparent, but it's also on your shows. You really don't talk about women or interest in women. And a lot of your emails to me, when you get mad at somebody for doing something, I'm going to take my fucking cock. I'm going to shove it up their fucking ass. I'm going to make them bleed. I want to hear them scream. And this is for males. This is males, not females, okay?
Yeah.
And everything seems to be one sex.
Mm-hmm.
All your connotations, all your references, and everything seems to be toward the male, not females. I don't hear you talk about females. I think you have certain fetishes. I think that you have a double or dual personality, because I've caught you in the middle of things that you just went crazy on me and other people.
Yeah.
And, our emails, I'm not going to show them or something, and I don't even have them anymore. That's all taken
Yeah,
off
but it's
anyway.
okay. You can talk about it. You have my permission to talk about these
yes,
things. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, Aloe, you're a very unusual person. Obviously, we all know that. I never know what direction I don't know where you go with your mind half the time. I don't know when they have to believe you half the time. But you do seem to be, like, for example, I don't believe that you're married. I don't, well, to a woman anyway. I don't believe that at all. It was a matter of a couple of months ago. We were talking, and I said, your wife was there listening. I said, well, why don't you ever at least say hello to me? Oh, no, she can't do this. She don't talk on YouTube, no. I'd rather give you my Wiener Schnitzel than have you my wife talk. She don't talk to you on it. No, that's bullshit. It's nothing for. Hey, Frank.
Let's give our listeners some context here.
You don't have a wife.
Hang on a second.
You don't have a wife.
Frank, hang on a second.
You may have a lover. You may not.
Frank.
I want to get it out. You've been asking me a lot of questions.
I understand, but we need to give our listeners some context. Ladies and gentlemen, a few weeks ago, about the wife comment here. A few weeks ago, Frank and I did a podcast, and then we ended the podcast, and I told him that my wife is listening right now. And Frank then said, can you say hello to your wife, and can she say hello back? And she heard that. And then I asked her, do you want to say something? And then she refused to say something. And you concluded that there was no wife. There's no wife. I'm just giving people some more context here, because you have to understand they are not part of those conversations in the background.
It's your illusion. It's your illusion that you've been trying to present to people for many, many years. It's just an illusion. Your whole makeup and everything else. It's why you want to be seen on camera, because you probably have something to hide. Maybe visibly, I don't know, you might be overweight, you may not be attractive, or maybe you actually do have orange hair and put clown makeup on. I really don't know. Maybe you do walk around like the Jester. Maybe you're a total socio-psychopath, and I'm beginning to wonder. And I want to clear the air on this, because I think we need it to.
We can talk about everything. I told you that we'll have enough time to talk about all these things. I just want to give our listeners some more context.
Let me do my part.
Please go ahead.
You've been asking me a lot of questions. So really, you've done a lot of really dastardly things, not just to me, but a lot of people on YouTube. I imagine there are people that would and wanted to find you and do harm to you. I'm sure there is. And there's been a lot of people that want everything from Johnny Warrior onward. A lot of people.
Jay Stillman.
A lot of people were against me. But I think there were more people against you than there was on me. Sincerely, I feel it, and I've experienced,
That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true.
I think you have a personality disorder. I think you have a definite because I've seen you go from black to white in seconds, and your personality just changes from somber to like fucking crazy shit, man.
Where I basically yell, right, in the emails, I would say, I'm yelling, I wanna F this guy in the asshole, I will make them bleed, I will pump their holes and stuff like that. You are referring to those emails.
Come on, man. If a psychologist was listening to you, they'd say, this is not an act, sir. He's done this so many times before, it's become part of his personality. There has to be a certain portion of what this man who calls himself Aloe De Winter, the evil jester, has taken over his personality, that it actually is, sociopath or psychopathic tendencies. Because, look, I've listened to you, dude, for a whole fucking decade, as much as you listen to me. I make my own evaluations like anybody else does. I've seen you at your worst. I've seen you at your worst. Nobody wants you as their enemy. But then again, they're dealing with a ghost, and they know that. And that's why you keep your anonymity, you know. You don't want people to know because you know that you could be harmed. And there's a lot of people that wanted to harm you. And we know that as a fact, and that's not anything
Let's dissect that. Let's dissect that, because there's a lot of things that you mentioned. And again, I'm not trying to interrupt you or anything like that, because I just want to confirm and give our listeners some more context, because you're referring to the very sick homosexual emails that I send you, and you mentioned it, and
plenty of them,
that's
and they were all geared around that, Al. Well, it's one thing like to do that now and then, but quite seriously, I've noticed that's a pattern with you, and it's either tells me that you're full-blown gay, or you're bi. You're going to be one or the other. I'm not convinced of it any other way, because I feel that if somebody has something to hide, and why you've been so anonymous. Sorry, I'm filling up a bottle of water.
Yeah, take your time.
And I feel that, you know, this is not totally part of entertainment on your part. I think it goes a lot more.
I will tell you what I think about that, and I will raise a point that you will have to agree with at the end of the show, because that's the difference, the main difference between you and me. That's why this podcast here is quite interesting for me, because I would like to point out something, because this is really the part now where we talk about you and you know, your reactions and my reactions. And you mentioned a few things, the wife issue, that you tried to talk to my wife. You said, can she not just say hello, right? And she didn't. And your conclusion is...
It was something very simple.
Yeah.
Something very simple. It doesn't identify
yes, exactly.
her.
So your conclusion is there is no wife.
You can't identify with women. It just shows that you can identify with women, that maybe you do have a woman in your life, but you don't want to tell anybody even that. It doesn't...
No, Frank. Let's stick to the point. You said there is no woman. That's what you said earlier.
Let me just plug this thing in here.
You said there is no woman. There is no wife. I don't have a wife, because in that particular situation...
This is my own personal opinion. I don't believe you have a woman.
Yes.
And because you traveled around so much, and, you know, you at least see a shadow or something, but you travel alone a lot, it seems like. I don't think you have any particular partner. I think that you have certainly gay tendencies. Now, sorry, but, you know, it's one thing to be like doing a show on YouTube and then communicating privately on email, because a lot of the stuff, I even had to tell you to stop it. It's just making me feeling uncomfortable. You're talking about, I'm not a homosexual, and you're talking about a lot of homosexual activity.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? When do you feel uncomfortable? What emails are you referring to?
You know, fucking guys up the ass and making them bleed and all this shit, and you know, I mean, it's sick. I'm sorry, man, but it's just what it is. I think every person who's out there that's listening to me will agree with me. You know, some of the things, you know, I wish I had all my emails here. I didn't read it. You know,
yeah, that would not be a good idea, because YouTube might shut it down then when you talk too much.
Yeah, but I mean, the things you had to say in there, I had to tell you and interrupt you. I said, oh, I don't want to listen to this anymore, because I felt really uncomfortable.
You said, I'm fucking done. I remember that. I would write an email about all these things, and I would, like, you know, go into details, and then you would write back, man, I'm done. I'm fucking done.
Right.
That's the reaction.
Because I could not listen to this homosexual type of shit, because that's not who I don't swing that way. And whether you're fucking around or not, it's still uncomfortable for me to hear. And some of the sexual acts you talk about, cum and everything else, and fucking somebody up the ass till they bleed. And I don't want to hear this kind of shit. We got enough nutcases out there and shit to deal with if you're on YouTube and stuff, you know. And a lot of them are probably like that too. I just don't swing that way. I'm a heterosexual person, and what anybody wants to do with their life on their own personal level behind their own doors, I really don't give a shit. It doesn't affect me. I have my own personal choices and opinions about things like that, but I'm totally straight. I don't have any gay tendencies or even secret tendencies.
But it upsets you. It upsets you when I do that.
it offends me
Yeah.
because, for just example, if somebody's pushing their religion on me, that'll get me upset.
Yeah,
That'll
yeah, yeah,
get
I
me
understand
upset.
that,
I
but
just,
let's stay on topic here, on the stuff that I am writing to you, the emails.
yeah,
That's
that's what
something
we're
that
talking about. Yeah.
offends you. That because often you would say, "I'm fucking done, man."
And
And
that's
for,
how I feel. That's
yeah,
how I feel at the
because
moment, though. I mean,
to
look,
give
I'm
our
done with you.
listeners
I
some
tell you
context
straight
again.
off. I tell you, I don't want to hear
Yeah,
this gay shit. Okay, nothing against the gays, but it's just not me. It's their lifestyle,
yeah,
not mine.
yeah.
And I don't want to hear that. Okay, I think it's sick. I'll always say that. You know, we made a man and a woman for a reason, for procreation. If they wanted to, you know, how many different categories they got now? They're creating more. Now there's, I can't even name them now. It's not just gay, lesbian. It's not just, I mean, it's now there's like 5 other different categories or 6 others. Existential. So I don't know. There's so many denominators now that you got to be afraid anything you say to
But
anybody because you're going to
how
offend
do you
somebody.
feel when I do that? What is it? What is it? What are the emotions?
You just make sex sound ugly. Okay, and sex is not supposed to be ugly. You make sex sound more of a maniac's act
And these are
than
my
it is.
personal emails to you, right?
Yeah, well, things online that I've heard you say in the
Yeah,
past
but
too. It's
I'm
not just
much more detailed when I email you. Would you agree?
oh yeah, you are.
Yes. Mhm.
Well, but I've heard you say some crazy things online too when you're on live shows
Yeah,
too. It's
but
not just in the
that's
email.
because people know that. People know that. But the people who are listening right now, they want to know more about the kind of emails that you and I are exchanging. And I want to tell our listeners that I often would send you emails with a very explicit content, and you would write back and say, "I'm fucking done, man. I'm fucking done." And I would like to tell you something about Michael Fazio here. Let me share a story with you. Michael Fazio mentioned this one time to several NBI agents because Michael and I were not always friends. At the very beginning, I trolled Michael and I sent him very explicit pictures. I'm talking about very explicit pictures. And he
I remember
showed
that.
those pictures to several NBI agents, and the NBI agents apparently told him, "This is something we have not seen before. Alo de Winter must have found these pictures somewhere in the darknet," and they were almost. Apparently, they were like almost shocked about it. I mean, some of you guys might remember that. And
I heard there was some from Discord or somewhere. I mean, I've heard of this before. That there was some very, very disturbing pictures that you have shared with people.
yeah,
I mean, very disturbing.
yeah. But in your case, I did not send you pictures, but I was very, descriptive of the situations. Can you confirm
Okay,
that?
how about a simple question before we go on?
Yeah.
And that's not going to identify. How old are you? How old are you?
I am in my mid 40s. I have spoken about that.
All right, you don't even want to say your name. What does it matter? I mean, I'm just asking, no, but you might say, okay, well, what does it matter? Okay, you're in your mid 40s, you claim. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
I
Okay,
claim.
now is
That's
there a
good that you
reason?
mentioned that. I
Is
claim.
there a reason? Is there a reason from the beginning that you became a troll, and why you like to be anonymous all the time, and won't show your face, and that you got so involved with stirring up the community? And for whose entertainment was this? For the people? Was it entertainment for you in a sick way? Did you enjoy having people mad at you and wanting to kill you and trying to fight hard to find out who you are?
These are your
You get some
questions, right?
personal enjoyment. So personal
Yeah.
enjoyment from this.
Let me address every question. If I forget one, I want you to ask me again. So you asked me about why am I a troll, right?
Why must you feel? I think you have some talents. I think you're pretty intelligent. Why can't you?
Yeah, but
Whoever came on here, put a
let's
really
talk
good
about the
show
trolling.
on. I think you.
Let's
think
talk about the trolling. Seth Style, around 10 years ago, did shows, and I told him, I want to be part of this community. I want to be the most hated man in this community. And that was
Why?
always my goal, and to troll people.
Why?
I think it
Why did
gives
you want to
me
be hated? Why did
satis.
you want to troll?
Because my goal
Come on,
is
I'll be a
this.
psychoanalyst.
Let me answer that. My goal is this, and always was, by the way, my goal was always to have a bad reputation among bad people. And I
And the
think
purpose?
it gives me satisfaction. It makes me, it entertains me. It makes me feel, it's maybe hard to
In
understand,
other
but
words, you
let's
like
let's
to see
let's think
people
of it that way.
suffer,
But
and it kind of
hang on
like
a second. Hang on a
replaces
second. I will
some.
answer that real quick. Let me put it this way. When you put
It makes you feel good about yourself. All right, go ahead.
no,
Go ahead.
when you put Bama behind bars, people said Frank destroyed this man's life. But I know how you felt and still feel about this. It gives you satisfaction. Maybe it makes you even happy. It feels good to punch an asshole in the face. And maybe
If deserved. If
yeah. But
deserved,
that's
yes,
individual.
if
That's
deserved.
individual. That's an individual. That's based on individual judgment. So I like
Yeah.
trolling, and it entertains me. The reason why I'm part of this community is not because I want to make money. The reason why I'm part of this community is not because I want to talk about where you can get, how to book a hotel or anything like that, or dating or whatever, right?
It might be
Trolling.
interesting, how to book. You travel a lot, how to book a good hotel or something. That's boring. But I think I know what you're doing. I have to agree with you with one thing, though. And I'll agree with some of the people.
But
When
you
you
had
call
you had other
somebody out,
questions. You had other questions as well. Still, when it comes to
yeah,
trolling.
but I want to do about what you do is basically what a lot of people do. I will agree with you on certain aspects of what you do and have done on here, and some other people have. When you catch somebody in an extraordinary lie, if somebody you know is absolutely scamming, and you know they are, and it's really unfair to the people that have donated money, like Heidi and other people like that. I could see somebody calling somebody out on that. Absolutely, because it's not just on YouTube. I get streams from different things. People supposedly mutilated. It's not real. CIG, AI, they're not real. And then somebody else copies that as their material to make money and give a phony name. And I see the different names
Yeah.
on the author. There's a lot of this going on, man. More than I've ever seen in my life. AI is not a great thing per se, but I see people take advantage of each other. And you got to earn your money. You got to earn your money. Don't try
But
to scam
listen,
somebody.
Frank, this is not the mission or something
What I'm
like that.
saying is I agree when you're going to call, or anybody called somebody out on their little caper.
Yeah, but hang on,
And when
Frank.
they're
It's
doing
it's not about that I have a mission or something like that, because a lot of people misunderstand that, and I know you at some point also mentioned that a couple of times. You said you should troll this guy because this guy deserves it, or you should deserve that woman because she deserves it. That's not how I operate. I just troll based on, that there is no, let's put it this way, I'm not here to make the world a better place and just troll, the guys who deserve it. Sometimes we just troll for fun. Sometimes it's just about getting a reaction or steer the pot.
I have to interrupt you, because don't you realize that sometimes you could really hurt people?
Of
It's like when
course.
you got on that
Of course.
on that fucking camera and made believe it was me. That was uncalled for, man. You didn't have to go that far. But you hated me that much, it satisfied you that much, and you want to get that much attention.
No.
Hey, look what I can do.
No.
I'm going to go on there and pretend I'm Frank and embarrass him. Well, look, the
No.
lawyer-
I do not hate you, Frank. I
was
have
cruel.
to
That
correct you on that. I do not hate you. There's very few people that I actually hate in this community, and the way I treat you is not based on the way you interact with me. To tell you, because I will get into that in a second, because about the insults online or like in our email conversations. I will get into that, but let's stay on topic here, because you also mentioned earlier Anonymous and why am I trolling, and I think I answer that. It's a personal satisfaction. I just like doing that. I mean, like it's really not hard to understand.
Where does it come from inside you to do this? Why do you feel you need to be the troll? Never mind just for entertainment, where you've actually hurt people before, and even given out people's personal information. And a
Yes.
lot of us, we have done that all when necessary.
Like
But I
Johnny
think you've done it in,
J. Stillman, right?
Johnny Warrior. Yeah, Johnny Warrior was a big one on that one. I do understand calling out, and I said this a little while ago. I do understand people who call out other people when you absolutely know that what they're trying to feed the public for the sake of making cash and benefiting themselves, they're going to tell an out and out lie. Then it's like you have to warn the public, and you have to say, and I've done this on other streams that have nothing to do with YouTube. Believe me, calling people out on things that I know is bullshit. I know it's CIG, whatever you call that, and AI.
Yeah.
Complete different authors and people who's trying to make money. Could be Nigerians, whatever. It's a big
So you're
scam.
basically saying there's good trolling and there's bad trolling, is what you are saying.
No, I don't see why anybody has to troll at all. I think you could be open about how you feel if you think like, Heidi's a good example.
Because people love to watch real emotions. People love to watch people having meltdowns. People loved it when you were yelling at the camera, Frank. People loved it when you were yelling at the camera and you told Dave Phelps, Dave, enough is enough. I'm not playing around anymore. Where you held that fucking PNP document into the cam and you said, tell him, Gilda, tell him we are not fucking around anymore, right? You remember that moment. And I think that was one of the, top epic moments of this genre. Or when you said, don't fucking talk about my woman, or mute him. People love emotions. And how do you get these emotions? You troll people. You manipulate them. You mislead them. You lie to them.
I'm not misleading anybody.
No, I'm talking about myself here. Because I do manipulate people. I mislead people. I lie to people. I make people feel comfortable with me because I want to talk to them. And that is a form of manipulation. And I have never said otherwise.
Do you feel that this is normal psychology for a human?
If that's how you are all the time, absolutely yes. But here's the difference, Frank. And I want you to hear me out on this. One thing I want to make very clear also for our listeners before we continue this part of our podcast, it's the idea that people always have to be on somebody's side. I don't really think that way. I've publicly said that I believe that Frank here should remain in the Philippines and that certain things happening around him are, let's say, unjust, unfair, but supporting somebody on one issue doesn't suddenly mean I become their soldier or best friend or part of a team. And that's something that I noticed in our communication. Very often, there seems to be this...
You are an excellent manipulator.
Yeah, hang on a second. Very often, it seems to be that there's this expectation that if somebody supports one aspect of your situation, that they must automatically align with your position completely. And I don't think, that's the case. And if I don't, and you also often think that way. Yeah, hang on a second.
This is why I don't go on the live streams and invite people and stuff like that, because we talk over each other, and one wants to get his point of view out above the other, and then they just clash on here, and that's when
I am not going to clash with you. I'm not going to clash with you because it doesn't matter what you say about me. That's the difference between you and me. And you have insulted me in the emails many times. And you say that I'm the psycho. I've never insulted you in the emails, Frank.
Why?
I never, no. But can you go on record here and you can confirm that I've never insulted you in the emails? I insulted you on the live streams in the past. Because for me, my position will not change. You often told me, more than 4 times now, you can go back now to Discord and bash me again. I'm not going to bash you. Why should I bash you? But you called me faggot, you called me piece of shit, You called me all kinds of names. Why? Because
Well,
I
okay,
did not.
interrupt.
I did
Pass the
not
pillow.
put out your
Pass the pillow.
podcasts immediately.
Hold on.
All right.
I called you this and I called you that, you say.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go back in the history machine in the time tunnel and think of all the things you called me and mine.
Yeah, but that was
and how you
before we
labeled me.
started to do podcasts together, Frank. Because there is a before and
Well,
after.
it still happened. Historically, it was still real.
Yeah, that's your justification. That's your justification.
good
You know what's
memory
the,
and
you know
I
what's
don't
the
forget
difference,
these things.
Frank? Let me put this way, and that's the last thing that I'm going to say about that. The reason is that in private, and you must, when we talk in private, you must accept the fact that I'm a very, very normal guy, and you've seen that. Because I told, yeah, it's
That's
true.
your interpretation. That's your
No,
interpretation.
because we, no,
okay.
I have never insulted you. We have spoken in a very normal way. I never
You
insulted
never
you.
insulted
But
me? Are you kidding me?
No. In the
you
private
fucking
conversation,
kidding me?
Frank, in the private conversation since the
You
last
have
2 to 3
insulted
months.
me on YouTube. I can't even count how many times.
Yeah, but
you've
that was the
insulted me.
these were the live streams before that I did with Popeye. I insulted you. I
but you
attacked
did,
you.
but you did.
I did. I'm not denying that. But I'm talking not about what I do online, because there's an online persona. That's what we are talking about right now. In private, there was never any problem, right? You notice that. And I think that's the point I'm trying to raise. I act all crazy on Popeye's show, on RRR, on and when I email you. But when we talk in private, it's completely different. And I tell you, or I'm asking you now, why is that?
Well, you don't have a crowd cheering you on when you write me on an email. That's why.
That's your
You wanna
reason.
go
The
for the
reason is I'm a very normal guy in real life, and I don't care if you believe that or not. I do not care what the people
I find it
out
hard
there
to believe.
think about that. But when I am talking to you, because let me put it this way, I told you a couple of weeks ago I'm going to travel, and I told you I will not be available and I won't be able to do podcasts all the time. And then I remember the words. I said, please don't lose your fucking temper.
Well, let him stay here. I'm listening to you. I'm listening
Yeah,
to you.
so I told you, I don't want you to lose your temper. Don't get angry. Don't get upset about it because I'm going to travel. And you said, don't worry, it's not a problem. And then your emails starting to pile up in my inbox. We should do a podcast. We should do a podcast right now. There's so much to talk about. And I said, Frank, I'm traveling right now. I'm with my family. I'm not going to do podcasts. And then you started to say things such as, you need to make time. And then you got very hostile. And I just stick to my guns and said, Frank, that's your decision. If you don't want to do podcasts with me anymore, fine. That's your decision. I'm not going to ask you to do podcasts
I just
with me,
felt
right?
I was in a position where, because I don't have a YouTube show anymore.
Yeah, but Frank, you have to understand, that's not my problem, right?
Please stop interrupting. Please stop interrupting me, man. You know, you have a habit. That's why I'm answering your question about StreamYard and why I would never invite anybody on, because this is exactly what happens, man. You know, and we will talk over each other. It's almost like you can't hear me
Frank,
talk.
in every podcast, it's a back and forth. And I think I've been more than fair to you when it comes to these podcasts. I'm not talking over you, but at some point, you have to let me make a point and explain, even if you don't like it.
You. The whole show has been 75% you talking.
No,
so,
I don't
I'm
think
just
so.
trying to
I
get in
don't
there.
think so. I don't think so. It's
I'm
mostly...
trying to get in there somewhere, like, you know.
Yeah, but look, I'm trying to explain the people out there listening who don't have the context. They don't know about our communication. They don't know about the emails. And that's why I'm mentioning it, because you didn't mention that you started to become very hostile towards me when I was traveling. I have to mention that. That's the only point I tried to raise.
I think it has to do with my being in what was the word I used? Impetuous? Whatever.
Impatient.
Or whatever.
Impatient.
How about doing that? Yeah, I think it has to do with that. No, it's just that when I have a train of thought, and that's for like an ADHD person, a lot of us have that. Oh my God, on YouTube. It's like you have a train of thought it's like, oh shit, man, I'm in no position because I don't have a show. I can't share my thought. So what happens is,
I
okay, I'm
yeah.
gonna try to get Allo to do a podcast because while I got this fresh on my mind, and I might even wrote out something for my thoughts.
I understand.
And yeah, it does become uncomfortable because I don't have control anymore. I don't put a show on, and when something I hear or I gather, if I learn something I think is incredible or need to share, I'm not in a position. You're at the control panel. I'm not, so that's why, and it becomes very uncomfortable, impetuous, I guess is
Yeah,
the word, and it's like I want to share. I'm a person that likes to share.
Frank.
And I'm at a moment, like you said, I have no patience. Yeah, that is like me. I tell the
So
truth
you
about
admit.
myself.
So
I
you
got nothing to
admit.
hide.
But like, my question is this: Do you just said it? You want to put it out there? I fully respect that. Okay, I understand it. Sometimes you just want to react. But do you
Oh, no,
understand?
I do apologize.
No,
Sometimes
you
I
don't
gotta
have to
be.
apologize. You don't. This is not
No,
what
no,
this is
let me
all
say.
about.
Would you ever let me finish a fucking sentence,
Yeah,
man?
let me just
I am
let
only
me just
apologizing.
ask you
No, would
this.
you see? You're not letting me fucking finish. This is what I mean. You don't
Yeah,
let me finish a fucking sentence.
because I want to.
I said apologies for not understanding that, hey, even though I wanted to do a podcast with you, that maybe you had some shit to do.
That's the
And I
point.
should have been more understanding of that.
That's the
Okay?
point. That's
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 what I'm
that's
saying.
all.
I give an apology to that because maybe I have something important to say, but hey, it's, I don't have a show. I have to rely on you doing podcasts, and that'll end someday too. I feel very comfortable actually being off YouTube, but having a few podcasts here and there is it kind of helps me be off YouTube in a sense of having my own show, which I gather at this point is probably never going to happen. I'm getting older. I've been through the mill with people on here. There's a lot of crazy people out here that I just don't want to deal with. For Gilda's safety, for my safety, for kids' safety. Let's admit it, we got some nutcases out here. We got some true ass volatile nut jobs out here, okay? I don't need people passing here taking selfies or coming by unannounced. This is my private sanctuary here. This is mine. It's not anybody else's. And coming by here unannounced or unwanted is definitely
And Frank,
not a welcome thing.
and,
It's
and,
not
and
a
Frank,
welcome thing.
I hate to interrupt you, but that answers the question you asked me earlier. Why do I stay anonymous? You're just answering the question right now.
Well, I knew that part of you, but I think that you have a talented part of you, and I think you're pretty intelligent. And I think you do have some editing skills. I know you do. And it would be nice to put that into action. And
Where?
actually, you
How?
don't even
On
have to go
YouTube?
on camera. You don't even have to go on camera. But
I
I
am.
mean, the thing is to actually do a show and the real you in a way, and no bullshit hiding behind anything. And if you have a great life, you could talk about it. You don't have to be terribly personal, but let people see a totally different side of the guy who calls himself Allo Di Winter. Okay, let them see that you have another side.
Frank.
That you're not really a speedster. But
Frank.
let me tell you one thing in psychology, and I'm not an expert, but let me tell you.
Frank, hang on a second before you go ahead with all of this. I'm a troll.
You can become that person.
Yeah.
And I'm no psychoanalyst, and I don't have to be, but I know enough that if you have repeated patterns and you do it over and over, it's just like actors that are doing method acting. They become part of that personality. And I've heard it from many actors.
No, they're just good at it. They're just good at it.
No. I've heard actors say that it got to a point that, it started to become part of their personality.
Yeah, but we are not talking about that kind of acting.
They were concerned about that.
Yeah.
They were concerned about that.
We are not talking about that kind of acting.
Over and over, when you do something over and over again, Allo, like you do on YouTube and your attacks and all this other shit on there, and it actually can seep into your little psyche.
No, you can turn that on and off. That's the difference, because I'm completely different offline, and you know it. Because I could have...
be just as scary, too, the way you say I could turn it on and off. I mean, that's like, it's almost like your two personalities. I can just turn this off like that. You either are or you aren't. And what you say on
It's
YouTube
it's called
is going to be
trolling,
depicted. It's
Frank.
going to be,
It's trolling.
yeah, I don't buy that.
Yeah, I know that you think that I'm a fucking psychopath. I have no problem with that. And that's exactly the reason why I don't get mad about it. Because a real psychopath would, and you expected that actually. You were often saying,
Yeah, but Al, you
okay,
have said
just
not
bash
just
me
to
now.
me, not just, here we go again. You have said just not to me, but to other people through the years, some very unsavory things
Yes,
that nobody
yes,
should say about
yes,
anybody.
exactly. I never
And
denied that.
I don't understand whether you get an orgasm from this shit. I don't know. But I know you long enough to just not make, freaky little, quirky little statements about you off the bat that don't have any background or backbone behind it, because I've listened to you for 10 fucking years.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to examine your personality. I'm very good for something anyway. I'm very good on getting into the personality of people, what they're all about. I see through their bullshit. I see through their lies. And when I expose them, I make an enemy. And, that's why you can't be totally honest on YouTube, because when people find out too many things personal about
Yeah,
you,
look,
they get too much information, TMI, that's when they go on the attack and they could use that as a tool against you. I understand you being anonymous because you could get away and say everything you want and they're not going to find you. They don't know what you look like. So that's a lot of the mistakes all the current YouTubers and newcomers are making. They're giving a little bit too much in, and a good example is our good buddy, the newbie, Mr. Matthew. And he's getting too much personal information out there that they can and will use against him if they really wanted to. And Heidi, of course, with the lying and the bullshit about her illness and this and that and this and that. I mean, and then people knowing about her background, and she was a felon and what she did with a bomb and everything. Some serious shit, man. And some people will take it in a very serious way. That, hey, I can't let this woman get away with this shit. We got all kinds of personalities out there, Aloe. And some of them are a real deal. Look at Breedus. He's a real stalker. The guy, he's got many screws loose. I wouldn't trust that guy as far as I could throw him. And,
look,
we got all kinds of persons.
You are right about that.
There's some seriously sick people.
Yes, you are right about that. You are right about that, and therefore it attracts a certain type of trolls. And when you talk about Alo, I listened to you for 10 years. I analyzed you. Here's my question. For you to analyze a person, you need to differentiate between the real person and the persona that troll created online. It's basically saying we will analyze Rambo or Rocky and then do a psychological assessment of Rocky Balboa, and then we forget about the fact that it's about Sylvester Stallone we're talking about.
Here is the difference, sir. When you see a pattern with somebody, that tells you all you need to know when they're very consistent with a certain pattern. And I don't have to
What's the
study
pattern of Alo de
psychology to
Winter?
understand that.
Let me tell you. Gay behavior.
You have a lot of patterns
Wait a second.
that
Gay
I followed,
behavior.
that I've seen.
Massive.
I've seen you go from
Yes. Threats.
I've seen you go from calm as a lake to the perfect storm at sea.
Yes, and
in a
that
matter of
shows
seconds.
it's all fake. That shows it's all fake. Let me tell you this. What's the Alo de Winter persona? Gay behavior, explicit gay bullshit talking, and massive threats, including against minors. Okay? And that repeats itself again and again.
I've asked this question before.
Yeah.
I think I've asked this question before, and it's about you and other people. And other people have definitely said it, whether it was Don C. and people like that. Mm-hmm. First question, if they're in any relationships, a double question really, if they're in, or statement, if they're in any relationship, has the other party actually listened to your most immense psychologically imbalanced moments on YouTube and start questioning their heads and say, he's done it so often, I'm beginning to question his personality. Because he's not like that with me, but maybe his real person comes out when it's on social media. Don C., all these people, Popeye around his daughter, all these people, when their personality, because social media has a way of bringing out your inner craziness. it has a way of bringing out your thoughts and stuff, especially when you're sparring with people on here. And I'm just wondering, I'm picturing this scene where a lot of these guys will do this when their wives or boyfriends or whatever it is are not home. Do they really know what you're saying on YouTube? Because maybe they don't listen to it. Some of them may not even know you're on YouTube. Some of them do know, but they don't figure that you're the type of person to say these crazy things on
Let
there.
me answer that.
would come.
Let me answer that. You mentioned earlier that you never see my wife in my 1,000+ YouTube shorts. You never
that's
hear.
okay.
Wait, hang on a second. You never saw somebody, or you don't hear somebody talk in the background, right? If you look at some of my videos, you'll notice that I'm in the presence of people around the table when I go out to these restaurants. And sometimes you hear people talk in the background. And I give you, and I wanna tell you this, I'm very...
Most of them I've not seen that.
Yeah, I'm
not
very,
that
very
experience.
strict. And sometimes I make mistakes, but I'm very strict and very focused when before I publish my YouTube shorts or when I do my podcasts. I make sure that there's nothing in there that will give the other side even a chance to trace me. And that includes that I make sure, hang on a second, that my wife is not in there and that my kid is not in there. I make sure of that. I would delete it. I would not publish it. And when I do podcasts, my wife and everybody else in my family knows he is online. My wife even tells me, I was talking on the phone. Do you think it's going to be on the podcast? My family is all in on this. They know that when I do something here online, that I act a certain way.
Your child listens to you acting like a maniac, and you don't think that's going to affect
no.
your
When my
family.
child is around, then they know he is online. He is on a podcast. That's what I'm trying to say, and I will
And
not.
you're saying they don't listen to you? You're going to tell me that your children don't listen to you and never have?
No. Because I make sure of
They
that.
know you got a channel. You've done this often enough. They know you're on YouTube.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe.
They
that
do not
never
go
heard
there.
you in
They do not
action.
go there. They do not go there. People in my family notice that when we go to places that I take footage. And then I'm talking about people who are close to me, but extended family. And they would ask, is he a vlogger? Is he doing vlogs? And they say, no, he's not doing vlogs. We make sure, especially my wife. It's actually my wife who tells me that I should not, when we go to certain places, that I should not take footage in the most obvious way. Because she doesn't want people to trace me. She knows about these things. Now, you believe, and I've heard that before, that people say he is not married, right? Or he's actually really gay. And this is probably the first time I'm going to talk about this because it's an interesting topic. The thing is that I will not give out information that narrows it down to find me. That's the point. This is why you believe that that there's still people out there who think that I'm Alan Fry. There are people out there who think that I am a guy.
Let me get to that a little bit.
That
Why
I am
do
a guy
you
with the
feel-
name Damian Belowski. They really believe that I am married to a woman called Geraldine from Pangasinan. Her nickname is Masha, and the guy is like 2 kids, lives in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and they go to his and her Facebook account and they look at the pictures and they think that's me. Even though when they look at the hands and also at my older YouTube shorts where I have longer hair, that guy is bald, they completely disregard that and say, no, that's just Alle de Winter is lying. He tries so hard to make us believe it's not him. And now, at this point, I just say, you know what? So be it. I'm Damon Bilowski from Edmonton. People have no idea who I am. There is one guy out there who could find me, a couple of guys, and I wanna be, because over the years I've grown very confident, because that's never going to happen. I put out videos of my farm. and you'll see stickers on the tractor, on the equipment. And some guy, and I know you know who you are, said the other side, they should find that video, go to that company and play my voice, my YouTube shorts to them, and they might recognize the voice because I have a very distinctive voice, and then they would find me. They would check the people at the farm. That's one way to find me.
That's one way, yeah, absolutely.
That would be one way. So check the farm and do it. Please do it. Go there, check it, check the sticker, call, go to that company, send somebody there, and then play my sound bites to that person and then narrow it down. And I'm telling you, they will never find me. I know people are going to say, okay, he's a piece of shit, he's full of crap. They will not find me. Because look, Barry Lee Jordan is behind bars because he called you a pedophile. The shit that I have pulled online is far worse. And you know what? I'm absolutely proud of it. I would do it again. I would do it again because in this country, and you also mentioned that earlier, Frank, in this country, and you have experience in all the legal matters, I cannot be touched. I know that sounds very arrogant, but I cannot be touched because you saw how hard it is to put somebody behind bars. Rest assured that I would do everything, including my family, they would do everything to fight back. And that means legally, I would be able to get very good lawyers, and I would have somebody who would fight back. I would fight back. It's impossible. And even if I will get exposed at some point, you cannot just call an employer, name and shame me because I don't have an employer. I have been an asset millionaire since I am in my early 30s. I travel around and split my time between Southeast Asia and Europe. I work for myself. I run my own thing. I'm not dependent on anybody. So if I come on here and insult people, there is
money?
nothing. No, I did not. No, I did not. I did not. I inherited some of it, and then I built some of it. I barely talk about these things. But if you look at my YouTube shorts, people think that I work somewhere in a fucking office, in a fucking office or something, in a fucking office or something. No, I don't. I just live off my passive income. I don't need a lot of money. I don't, use a lot of money. I just managed at the very early stage in my life to live off my passive income, and I split my time between Europe and Southeast Asia. I have property in Switzerland. I have property in the Philippines. That's all. There's no black magic. It's not because I'm smarter. It's not because I'm smarter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, rice farm. Yeah, exactly. And real estate. And it's all very simple, nothing fancy. In Switzerland and in the Philippines. And I split my time between Switzerland and the Philippines. I was just lucky. I'm not smarter than anybody out there. I'm not skilled or any.
Are you German or Swiss?
I am a Swiss citizen, and I have shown my passport several times on the YouTube shorts.
I know you're a Swiss citizen. Were you born in Switzerland?
Yeah. I have spoken about that, and it's. But when I talk about these things, people are going to say it's just misleading us because we know his Damien.
Where does the German party come in?
Switzerland speaks German. Switzerland is a German. Switzerland is a German-speaking country. French, Italian, and Romansh. But people are going to say,
what is their national language? I mean,
these four official languages. Four official languages. These are the four official languages of Switzerland. It has four official languages. It's a little bit like Canada. Canada is English and French, right?
Right.
Okay. And Switzerland has four languages. But some people will say, when Alo de Winter talks about these things, it's because he's trying to hide the fact that he is living in Canada. He is a Polish IT guy who is living with Masha Dasha in Edmonton, Canada, right? So that's why I'm not talking about it. And again, when I mention these things, it's not about, look at me, I'm so great. No, I am just lucky. I travel quite a bit. I don't need to work for somebody. I
So you're
stopped
trying
working
to
for
say that
somebody at
you're
the
a
age of LT.
multi-millionaire, U.S. million,
No,
whatever.
no,
You're a
no.
multi-millionaire.
I said I'm an asset millionaire since my early 30s. What does that mean? Asset millionaire
Well,
is because it's just because I have
on
real
paper.
estate, and I think most of us are.
No, it just means that you're not liquid millionaire, that you have a
I
property
don't
that
have
you
a lot of
set.
money. Cash wise, I don't have a lot of money. I have enough money to live this kind of lifestyle, to spend a lot of time with my family. I think time is very valuable. I don't need to get up in the morning and be in the office. I don't need to make phone calls and stuff like that. Of course, I work, but I work for myself.
Well, sounds like a good life to me.
Again, it's not something based on skills or anything like that. I want to be very, very, how should I say, very specific here. I think that's important because people often would say, okay, look, he's just bluffing, he's trying to show off. That's not what this is all about. Again, I was just lucky that I can split my time between Southeast Asia and Europe, and that I have real estate. I expanded that, of course, over the years, and I was able, because I grew up in Switzerland, I had a Swiss income, and these are among the highest in the world. And back then, when I came to the Philippines, I was able to buy into the real estate market. Now the real estate market in the Philippines is crazy. The prices are increasing,
Well,
just
you
like in
didn't say
anywhere
what
else
you
in the world.
did, but you didn't say what you did in Switzerland as a job to make money.
I was in
Here's
banking and
what you said in
finance.
the past. You said in the past that you were working for a resort, a skiing resort or something.
No, that's Heminger. Heminger tried to spread that rumor that I was a ski instructor because he watched my YouTube shorts, and Heminger is a specialist to, when it comes to creating rumors. He said, okay, Alo is in all these fancy places in the Swiss Alps. So the reason why he's there is not because he just enjoys his time trekking in Switzerland. No, it's because he's a ski instructor. And then soon after that, it just fall apart because they saw he's often in Southeast Asia, he's traveling in Southeast Asia, he's in all these places. And then people started to think, okay, maybe it's that Alan Fry dildo guy, because there must be no other, it must be him, right? And now they think I'm Damian Belowski. And I think it will take a while until they realize, maybe when we look at Alo's YouTube shorts, and we look at Masha Dasha's FB and Damian Belowski's Facebook account, when they realize nothing on there, really absolutely nothing on there matches the content of my channel. I mean, if you look at the hands, if you look at the places they go to, it just doesn't match. But they don't want to know, they don't care about that. It gives them a feeling of being in control and having a certain level of, I don't know, like power over me. Then my statement would be, if you guys know who I am, just contact my fucking employer and tell my employer that I told them that the company fucking sucks, and if you think that Masha Dasha is my wife, I have a message for you. Masha Dasha, Masha, I think you are a piece of shit. And our two daughters are fucking dirty sluts. Take that soundbite and leave it at Masha Dasha's FB account. Please feel free to do so. So see, that's how stubborn and narrow-minded these people are. So to answer
your... Let me ask you, just to kind of get off this a little bit, but you're in your 40s. Okay, you got some money, whatever. Do you plan to be a YouTube troll for the rest of your fucking life?
No, I am about to retire. I mentioned that. The last thing I'm waiting for is...
Oh, I know.
And
to see what happens.
I wanna, yeah, you see, there you go. And that's evidence enough, or that's the proof that I am serious about this, because you heard it. I want to know what's going to happen to Frank Battaglia. I want to know if you'll remain in the Philippines, or you will get kicked out. And that's something I
Yeah, what
noticed in our
relevance does it
communication.
have to you? Why would you care either way? I mean, why is it so important to you to hang in there until you get? You could always come on YouTube and listen, and maybe you could find out something. But
I will find out.
it didn't.
But the thing is,
You know,
I've stated that publicly. I don't need to be your friend to believe that it is wrong to kick you out of the country. And you took that very personal a few months ago. You said, if you are not
no,
my
no,
friend.
I'm
That's
not,
what you said, Frank.
I'm not looking for no.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
but you
looking
said,
for friends.
but the thing is, you
I can understand
said,
your part. And considering your past and everything you've done to me, I don't expect friendship, and nor would I even want one. But the thing is, I mean, I'm glad that we could talk about this as freely as we can on here. I appreciate that a lot. That's why it's our own forum that nobody gets involved. It's our forum. We're doing a podcast, and we're deciding to talk about what the hell we want to talk about. But the thing is, to put yourself through this, even in fun, even for entertainment, and to listen to all this nonsense on here, as I told you, I do a catch-up thing every now and then to find out what's going on YouTube. But in all honesty, I'm doing other things around here. I'm not on my laptop. It's the only place I could get the YouTube. I can't get it on here, but just take my word on it. Okay, and I find it very hard to do. I will every now and then I will do a little swoosh. Okay, what's Man Matthew have to say? What does Mike's Philippine Retirement or Jim's Asian Adventures or somebody? What do they have to say? And I listen. If it was, if it sounded interesting enough, I might listen to more than 5 or 10 minutes. I can't do it more than that. I put them on my Bluetooth speaker. I can hear it because my computer's speaker is really low, like my right ear.
Frank.
So I have the Bluetooth, and I listen to some of it. And then when I see it's going to be the same fucking shit over and over again, it just turns me off.
Yeah, but look, Frank, I think you are not the type of guy who, I would not describe you as a listener. I think you have a very hard time listening to people, because you are a guy who wants to talk. You want to get your point out
there. There's a show I want to listen to. I listen to YouTube, but not the people you think, not the trolls. I go
different
on YouTube
channels,
on my show, but basically more because I'm off YouTube now and I don't have a Google on there, is that I'm on Facebook a lot. I'm listening to all the news feeds. It's what I do a lot of my day. Even while I'm watching TV, I'm listening to news events with the weather, with the president, with this, with that, with the environment, with controversial topics, crime stories, all that kind of shit. That's what I do with my time a lot, besides doing a lot of chores around here, which I've, been doing a lot more chores around here to help her out, to keep me a lot busier. I don't want to be like my neighbor, who really doesn't do much. He's got a big belly from here to eternity, and he had some arrhythmia going on last week, and he had his first number systolic down to 80, and I suggested to him, and I get tired of trying to help people out, which I did on my show. Not a lot of people listen to me. When you give good advice to people, I say, fuck it, man. I got to take care of myself. I do it out of kindness, to let people know that, hey, man, I just learned something that maybe you didn't know. And if nobody wants to help themselves, they don't help themselves. There's nothing I could do about it. I could try to force feed this old dog next door. I've been taking care of next door, bringing him food. But he doesn't want something because it's just like kibble, like my real dog here, one of them. I can't force food down his throat. Here's the food. You want to eat it, you don't. Otherwise, give it to the chickens. They're gathering around that bowl, that old ice cream plastic tray. The chickens are coming in droves. The cats are coming. And what he don't eat, they will. I do my best. I put my best foot forward like I did on YouTube and like I do in my personal life. And if it gets stepped on, it gets stepped on. But when you get to the point of breaking my toe, that's when the whole thing just kind of changes. Okay, and that's why somebody's in jail. And that's why Jay's got a report on him to the prosecutor's office and so far, and who else. And how somebody else might be heavily involved with some heavy charges because of a complaint they put against me, and how this is going to go and where we're going to go with this. So it's getting very complicated, but it's getting very interesting because I think we are approaching the time. He's going to make a decision, yay or nay. and where we go from this is going to be another story that I may not share on here. I'm very happy I don't see. You're my only outlet. If you get pissed at me, I don't have an outlet. That's it. And maybe that's for the best.
Why would I get pissed at you?
Well, you're always seeking information because you need to know.
No, Frank. No. There's a contradiction in it. No, there's a contradiction here. On one side, you say, on one side, you say, I'm very curious about your. I want to extract information from you.
I Am Curious Yellow. I think that was a movie, wasn't
but
it?
on the same at the same time, you say it's very hard to get me on a podcast. Isn't that the contradiction in itself? Because the question here is this, and let's get back to the topic here, because I think you mentioned several times now that I am trying to use information against you. And I never really asked you anything that you didn't mention before. You mentioned all these things.
I don't like to talk about certain things. I don't mind.
And I did not publish it. Remember when we did, Frank? Hang on a second.
I don't hide the fact I got a woman or what her marital situation. I don't hide anything. I have 2 kids living here. I don't hide anything because I'm not doing anything wrong.
That's why. Okay? Why do you accuse me that I'm trying to find information about you? I try to get a better understanding about who you are. That's not like
it's really according to what you do with the information.
I'm not doing anything with the information. I'm making it public. I'm making it public.
But it's not personal knowledge when we're doing a podcast. You're asking me certain questions.
Exactly.
Everybody
and do you remember?
To get 300-400 people in a matter of 4 days or so that have listened to this broadcast, maybe over and over again with some people.
Frank.
And people try to pick it apart. They try to pick it apart. Now, let me catch Frank and what he said. Oh, at timestamp number blah, 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 we caught him saying this and that.
Yeah, but that comes with the territory. You know that. That comes with the territory. But let me remind you of something. You and I did a 3-hour podcast a couple of weeks ago. And at the end of the podcast, you told me, you know what? The second part of it is rather personal. I should not have talked about that. I don't want you to publish it, right?
Yeah.
Remember that. And what did I do? What did I do? I didn't publish it. So your accusation that I'm trying to manipulate you, that I'm trying to help the other side, like Shah, and contribute to their case, is absolutely absurd.
I know where you're coming from. I'm glad we talked about all this. I think I know where you're coming from. And if I were to believe everything you say, let's say I believe you got a real wife, you got children and all that, you got money and all that, it's not totally unbelievable. But, by certain behaviorism that's over and over again, it makes people think a lot different about you, your psychology.
But let me ask you, why do people talk, because this is not the first time I hear that, why do you think would somebody lie about having a wife? Because if I would not be married, I would say so. Being married is not really a big deal to tell you. It's not something to brag about. And I told you earlier, I don't have money. When you look at it technically, I'm an asset millionaire, but who isn't an asset millionaire in a Western country? As soon as you own property, due to the constant increase of real estate in Western countries, everybody might reach that 1 million US.
You're flying around everywhere having fancy dinners and all kinds of shit. I mean, you obviously got spending money. You actually have liquid money.
Yeah, but I don't have millions in cash, not even $1 million in cash. If I would sell everything, I'm talking about the real estate and the land and whatever, then it would overshoot $1 million. That's why I'm saying I'm an asset millionaire. But look, if there are probably guys out there listening to this right now. They work, they have a normal job, but if they would sell their farm or their bungalow or their house or whatever it is, they might qualify as an asset millionaire as well. It's the asset.
I've never in my life had $1 million. I've had the most I've ever had, basically was, let me see, between what I made on the house in Hawaii, but the house in Seattle, that was about 200,000 profit I made on that, and I made more on the house in Hawaii, but never once. I never
Yeah, but you
held
you,
in
you
my
get very
hand.
close to it.
The most I've ever held in my hand really was the latest was was a house in Hawaii, basically not in my hand, electronic transfer, but which
You're cutting out there a little bit. Let's just wait until you get back. But I'm not talking about cash here, but I get where you're coming from. I'm not sure if you are walking around right now, but let's just wait until you get back on here. I think I'm not sure if you can hear me. Are you still here, Frank? Do you hear me? We lost him. Okay, I'll send him the link again. Let me just create an invitation here. Invite guest, copy, and then let's go over there and let's send him the link. Let's just wait until he gets back. I was talking about the trolling, the money, the travels, family, and a few other things with our guest, Frank Battaglia. Let's just wait until he gets back. I want to add a few things here. Frank and I have very intense email communication, lots of emails back and forth. And I've noticed that in our communication, very often he seems to have this expectation that if somebody supports one comment or doesn't block it right away, he often thinks that I'm siding with that person, which is absolutely not true. And some accusations he mentioned earlier, that I'm paranoid or unhinged or unstable or manipulative or weird or completely fall apart when people actually look at how I've behaved privately with him. And the other thing is that I told him in advance that I would travel, and that I have a real life outside of YouTube, and that I cannot always answer immediately, and that sometimes uploads or reactions will take time, and actually apologized for that, but he was very, how should I say, triggered. And I actually knew that would happen before I went to Vietnam, for instance. He is back. I hope this will work.
Yeah, we got abruptly interrupted. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
what
on
happened?
13% on the battery. But we can end it right here. But anyway, it's been interesting, and the bottom line is not everybody knows everything about everybody, and I don't make assumptions. Just like maybe I make assumptions about you, but you see, I basically I gear all my opinions on repetitive behavior, which makes me believe that there is something to it. When somebody does something over and over again, it does say something about somebody.
No, my
And I could
question
be
before
totally-
you, now I remember, Frank, my question was, why would somebody, now I remember because before you got disconnected, I was about to ask you the question, why would I or anybody therefore lie about their marital status.
About your what status?
Marital status.
Marito. What is marito status?
Marital. Maybe I pronounce it wrong. About my wife. Marital. Marital status.
Marital.
Yeah, I say marital.
Yeah, I would never understand you.
Yeah, it's my German, it's my Swiss German, Polish accent. I don't know. I fuck it up every now and then.
Yeah. No, I don't know, Al. Look, I don't know. I know a lot of information about a lot of people on here, but you never totally believe everything you hear either. I mean, this is YouTube and social media.
Yeah, but my question is, why would somebody lie about such a thing? I mean, I get it that people lie about their car.
To hide from.
You know, people say, look, I drive a Mercedes-Benz, or I have a huge house.
A lot of people hide. They don't want to tell you their real life, why they moved to the Philippines or wherever they're living. They don't want the people to know their background because they're some of them are innocently trying to start all over fresh. They have try to get a better perspective on life and get their life together. Others, unfortunately, repeat their same mistakes. And no matter where you go, there you are. That's my expression all the time. And, you carry yourself no matter where you go. And some people can't get out of their personality and their character flaws and so forth. And it just continues on to their social media. Why do they do it? Because they could. They don't want people to know the real truth about them because sometimes the truth is pretty ugly.
Yeah, but I've been very transparent about that. I don't need to lie about these things because nobody knows me. So it would not be, it would be absurd if I would claim, look, I'm let's say I own a restaurant in Maui. That would be absurd to lie about shit like that. So where does that come?
Yeah,
and and the other question is why
that I'm fucking broke or something. That I'm fucking broke. In a sense, I am, because I'm just not broke. I mean, I'm living off my Social Security, but there's certain assets that are tied in with me and her that we can't touch. If I had to do a hospital visit right now, okay. I don't know. We might have to go into doing something like that.
Look, you are not broke. I don't think anybody out there really thinks you are broke. I think you are not. You're not broke. I mean,
I don't know.
No, look, you are. You live in the Philippines, in a good house, and a lot of guys out there would want to be in a similar situation. That's what draws them to this community.
Nobody, I don't know anybody.
No. I'm talking about the life in the Philippines. I mean, there is a reason why people come to all these channels, and the reason why they, watch all these channels because I think at least some of them want to live in Southeast Asia. They want to leave their Western home country, and they want to relocate to Vietnam, Thailand, the Philippines, Cambodia, Southeast Asia.
And the ones that do it, and they take a chance, that you got to be in a position. I was in a position to move out here at the time. I just took out whatever little bit I did have in my retirement account with the city, and it wasn't a lot of money. We're talking about not even $30,000, and that's all it was. And I made the best of it, And then I got the disability, so it worked out pretty well. My brother rented from me, and everything was fine. Things sometimes work out for you, but I think a lot of people are not prepared. But no matter how prepared you are, there's always something in your life, Al, that could change radically overnight that you're not prepared for, that even, my girlfriend's not prepared for. Is she going to be able to put out money, really, for me if I died? Or everything else? I mean, is she going to be able to live on what she's got coming from me, or what she might not. I don't know. We don't have a lot of money like people might think. And we really don't. I'm actually living on my Social Security every month. Truthfully, I run out of money in about another day. We don't always make it to my next check. Sometimes I'll eat rice and beans or fucking ramen. I'm serious. My check used to last me for the whole month and have a little extra put away. With inflation and everything that's been going on, a lot of times my check, imagine that happens to me, imagine a lot of other people. My Social Security check does not cover the whole month anymore. It hasn't for a while. And we have had days where it ran out early. where we didn't want to go into our fund, that even her daughter paid our internet bill. I'm not kidding. That we didn't have it for our internet. Because if we would have went into the other account, it's like a time count. I want to explain what it is. You're more business savvy than I am. I think you have an idea of these accounts you could have at a bank. You invest so much money and blah, blah, blah. You don't take it out 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever the hell it is. Basically you'll understand that, okay? And if we had to, we just lose a lot of money. But no, I'm not wealthy, not even as in a Filipino sense of the word wealthy.
But do you want to be wealthy? Because you always talk about money, and it seems to be a very big topic for you. It doesn't really matter as long as it's about your lifestyle. It's about the things you need, and it's not.
Lifestyle. We are surviving. That's all I could tell you. We are surviving. I'm a Social Security recipient. That's all I am. I'm a Social Security recipient. Anything else is icing on the cake through her. It's not for me. There's nothing with my signature on it out there that has any business sense at all. There's nothing. What she does with any potential money she may or may not have, or business dealings, or anything that's in the bank prior to meeting me, during meeting with me, things that have happened in between, that's her gig. It's not mine. I'm a broke skoke living on Social Security. Henceforth, we're both living on my Social Security. That is it. Anything else is not touchable, okay, unless it's an intense situation. It is not touchable. I've used my own money to go, to get lawyers, to do this and that. It hasn't been, okay, I had a lot of extra money because of selling the house, but there were renovations, blah, blah, blah. And then life went on. We were spending some of that money too. Some of it was invested, yes. But, my biggest deal I had was with a land right near the fucking pier that I got for a great deal. And that's what made us float above water. It was a rare deal to get. Her deal, not mine, because I can't buy anything here. It has to be through your Filipina. But did it very legal and everything else, the whole fucking bit. We've had good times and we had some bad times.
If you had more money,
right now,
let's say 500,000 US, maybe even more,
wish.
What would you do with it right now? What would you do with it?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now, if I was not in a position to have to deal, I can't leave the country and all that shit, I would make a lot more trips. We want to create memories together, and we just haven't been doing it.
Where do you want to go?
For real.
Where would you go?
I don't know. We'd like to go out of the country somewhere. It would be nice to have some memories and stuff. I mean, we live in the Philippines. There's nothing much, and I've said this many times, I'm being honest. There's nothing much in the Philippines that interests me that much that I wanted to really spend time. I went to Baguio for 3 days or whatever. No big fucking deal. We've been to other places around the communities outside of the city, up in Surigao Mountains. We've been to different places, But, I'd like to take on, if she was able to do with a passport country that would allow her, I'd like to take her to a special place, see things she's never seen before and do that for her. Gotta understand, man, I'm getting older. And I don't care about myself as far as I want to do good things for her, which makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel happy because she's been so goddamn fucking good to me. I sometimes don't even feel I deserve it, but she's been wonderful. She really has. And I want to do, because I'm older. She's going to live longer than me. I hope so. I certainly hope so. Yeah. And yes, of course, the house was for her. Of course it was. But it's for me, too. You don't have to pay rent and take that burden off me. And if you love somebody, come on, I'm going to get buried with the house. Come on, you can't take it with you. You just can't take it with you, man. I don't care what you have, gold and anything. It wouldn't make any sense at all. So if you were lucky enough to be in my position, whoever is out there at the sound of my voice, that you managed to meet a really special lady. You may or may not deserve her. It don't matter, but you met. I think I do deserve her, but, you want to show her, like, hey, man, thank you so much for being at my side and taking away my loneliness and caring about me in sickness or health and happiness and sadness that you've been by my side. What is that worth? You can't put a price on that, Arrow. And that's why I'm such a lucky man. And I feel I'm above and beyond a lot of these creeps on YouTube because I have all of the above, and they don't want to hear that. They don't want to know that. They don't want to suck it in. I just wish you die, go to the hospital. I wish Gilda would leave you, or you drop dead or something, or get off YouTube or whatever. Go to jail, get deported. Why? Why? Because they're not living my life or the life that some of the fortunate people out there are living that are actually on YouTube, that are living a half-decent life. Maybe 50 times better than I'll ever live, maybe 100 times, or maybe they're living a little less than me, but they're happy with what little they got, Aloe. What little they have, and they're still fucking happy. It's not about his portfolio, and I made 25% thanks to Donald James Trump or whatever, you know, like that fucking scumbag, and knowing that the guy is a fucking child predator, a real one, the president. You know, he's concerned about his fucking portfolio, and I'm publishing books. Money's so important to me. It's nothing is important to me with money. You can't die with that motherfucking money in your hand, you creep-ass motherfucker. You're a creep is what it is, I tell this guy, and I say it all the time. Who cares about your fucking money? I don't. Unless you're putting money on my table every day, motherfucker, and you're buying my meals every fucking day, I don't care about these people. I'm not making no money off these people. And I'm not giving it out to anybody anymore either. I mean, I'm thinking about me, myself, and I, and my girlfriend and her 2 kids and her family. I don't give out money to her family either. We got a great situation. They don't live around me. I got 2 kids. I'll be coming back at the end of the month. I miss them. They're good kids. You know, we're just living check by check. If you want to know the truth, we're living check by fucking check. That's it. That's the truth. We're living check by check. I was going to hit you up for some fucking money because we can't touch what's hers. I can't touch a time account. I can't touch anything. We are living. Anytime I go to a doctor or a test, it's coming out of my check. I got to pay my lawyer something on the 4th when I get paid. I got to pay him X amount of money and another something the next month. I made a deal with him, and it's going to make me that much less rich or whatever money for the next month coming up. That's how I am fucking living. If you want to know the truth, we're okay. And if we had to really, go back to certain assets, oh yeah, we'll be more than okay. I don't want that. Okay, it's going to be hers, and part of it is hers. And it's deemed to be hers, and it's meant to be hers, and I want it to be hers. I don't want anything to fucking do with it. You understand? I don't want anything to do with it because I have never had anybody in my fucking life that has stood by my side like this beautiful woman. I have never been graced with something like that. And my life is based around her. She is my life. My dogs are my life too, even her kids. I'm the luckiest man alive as far as I could tell you. I'm glad I'm not like these creeps on YouTube. I am nothing like what people say about me. I don't want to be them. I don't resemble them. And it's a good thing that I'm off YouTube. It's the best thing in the world that I got striked. It's the best thing in the world. And doing a podcast is not an excuse to come back on, but it's nice sometimes to say a few of the things that you'd like to say and vent a little bit. It's the only reason I'm on. I will never be on YouTube again. That's not going to happen. My little career, if you want to call it, is over. There's too many psychopaths out there. There's too many creepy crawlers out there. I don't want to deal with that. And mostly for her sake, I don't want to deal with it because it's very dangerous. Okay? These people are psychologically imbalanced. I don't want exposure to that. People coming over unannounced, creeps like fucking Brevis coming over, who's definitely psychologically ill, who's a fucking stalker. I said enough of that shit. If I love my woman, then I need to protect her and take care of her. What happened? Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay, so basically, that's where I'm coming from. I'm telling you the honest truth. I got money that I can't really always touch. I mean, I could, if it really comes down to push and shove. I'm actually taking an actual fucking piss.
Yeah. Maybe you should close the fucking cab. The cab is still
Yeah,
on,
well,
Frank, but I don't mind. I
right.
would like to mention something here real quick because you said it a couple of times now, and I think it's part of this podcast here because you said that that trying to find the information and information that damages you, and at this point it makes really no sense to extract any information from you, not for me and anybody else out there, because nobody is going to file anything, and the deadline to add anything new to Shah's complaint has already passed a long time ago. Nothing is going to happen anymore, and it's even possible that the Bureau of Immigration, they already forgot about it or lost the documents because
Yeah.
it's that dysfunctional out here. All you really need to do now is push for the visa payments, that they don't use that against you. That's all there is to it. I think I've lost you again there. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank was taking a piss, and I know you can't see this because we are on StreamYard. I'm recording this on StreamYard, and then he opened his cam because he got disconnected earlier and placed the cell phone on the table. Here we go. Yeah, I think you're back. Can you hear me? I
No,
think you
yeah. Okay, well,
accidentally.
we'll end it here. I'm always touching. That's why I get in trouble. I'm always
Yeah,
touching
it's not a
buttons.
big deal. I just mentioned to our
You know
listeners out there, I just mentioned that at this point, I think nothing will happen, and they might have even lost the documents of Shah and the complaint. I think they don't know what they are doing, and I think the only thing you need to take care of now is to push for the payment of the overdue visa fees, that they don't use that against you to kick you out or something like that. But it's very
Well, they could do what they. Well, I got to understand with immigration now. They could do whatever the hell they want, and I realize that. I'm not a person who's saying I know it's going to work out 125% of what I expect, But what I have to think about is how much money do I want to spend later on the person who put that false complaint about me.
I
So that's
think you
something I
just
have to
need to
discuss.
push your lawyer to pay for the fucking visa fees and ask them, look, I want to pay. Why can't I pay? I want to renew it. I want to renew it. I want to renew it. And you need these
They won't allow
documents
it.
to
They,
prove.
look. They won't allow it
I know, but
until
you
it's an
still need
oxymoron, whatever.
to document that, because at some point they
They
will
will not.
try.
They will not allow me. They said you have to come to a resolution,
Yeah.
but they don't want to have a resolution.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
you
what
need
do
to
you call
document
that?
that. Frank,
Oxymoron,
you
or what
need
is
to
it?
document
A
that.
contradiction of sorts. I don't know. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
It makes no sense. I
They
know
want
it's
something
very dysfunctional, but at the end of the day, don't give
very
them
dysfunctional.
don't give them
Yeah.
don't give them the option to say this man never really did anything about the visa fees. You need to document that you came to them several times and that you express your intention that you want to pay the visa fees again and again. Because that's what people don't understand out there who are listening to this. This might not make any sense to them, but it's really that dysfunctional. Because this is, the Philippines is a country that they had there were shots at the Senate, people walked out, a guy who is wanted by the International Criminal Court fled the Senate. Now the authorities are looking for him all over the Philippines. There's a warrant of arrest out there, and now they want to change the rules of the Senate, that those who have a warrant or are in jail or whatever, that they can vote online, so they can continue to participate in drafting resolutions and voting on bills.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do. That's kind of really hard to do. It ain't like
Yeah,
in
but
America,
the point here is,
it's,
the Philippines
yeah,
is completely chaotic, and from the highest offices of the land down to every fucking barangay office throughout all these islands, it's absolutely dysfunctional. You would not believe it. I mean, it's very
I believe it.
it's possible that they fucking lost the documents. It's even possible that they spelled your name wrong on the documents, probably Battaglia without the G. No, I'm telling you, probably Battaglia without the G, and now they don't know who is going to get deported.
This is going to be a good test.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be a good test. I think as of today, I guess he sent it out today. Let's just say that I came up with several pieces of other evidence I cannot talk about, will not talk about, that will actually make this, if they're really, true to form, if they're an organization that will see the truth and not want to just side with a Filipina because she's a national. This evidence was put in before, but this was actually better evidence on something that will, really make that connection that we need to make and understand that this was very well planned, that it was definitely...
Just push for a resolution, Frank. That's what I'm telling you. Relentlessly push for a resolution. At some point they will wake up, and if you have to go to the ombudsman...
Oh, they know they're guilty. They know it was April of 2024.
Look, these guys are fucking pieces of shit, okay?
2024.
Yeah.
2024, April. Can you believe that shit? Okay. So, they put me through the proverbial ringer for all these years. That I can't travel anywhere. That I gotta be a prisoner in the country I'm in. I can go anywhere in the country I want, but I can't travel out of the country. But like I say all the time, unless I have plans to go out of the country, it's not affecting me in any way. It's really not, because I had no plans, really. I've never had any plans. So it's not a big deal, really. I had no plans. But to be put in a position like this unnecessarily, by what she did was so absolutely wrong. In every respect, it was wrong. She knows it too. She knows it. And yes, there could be, maybe not just from me, but it may not have to, repercussions. Because if the Bureau of Immigration, Department of Justice, they find out, and they emphasize this, they finally figured out too, that she only harbored, aided, and abetted this guy, that makes it even worse. Then the lie and perjured, she had to sign and notarize a paper. Okay, she had to do that in order to get a lawyer. She'd be perjuring herself if they caught her in a lie. And we proved that this was all revenge because I interfered with the livelihood of their relationship. This is some serious fucking shit, because let me tell you, these governmental officers, they don't want to be fucked with. I will tell you that straight up, and I know this is a fact. They don't, in their time, paperwork, they don't like the paperwork. They don't like the stacks of paper going up to the fucking ceiling with pogos and everybody else. They hate it. They're so behind on everything. You think they want to just have to do extra work, knowing the way it is out here in the government?
They are very lazy.
You think they want extra work? They don't want extra work.
Yeah.
They don't. I guarantee you, they don't want the extra job. And finding out that this woman has been taking up their time. Their legalities. Am I still here? Did I fuck up again?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Maybe you should forget about the fucking Shah complaint and focus on the visa renewal, and then press them on that, and maybe even go there by yourself to Manila, to Intramuros, and push for the renewal and demand the resolution. And if they don't give you any answer within a reasonable time frame, then you might need to change your lawyer. And in the long run, that's probably the better option than waiting. Because at some point, I think they will create trouble for you again. They will say, okay, he never really wanted to pay the visa fees, because I don't think that they will decide on the complaint. I've heard about the resolution, but I think it's that dysfunctional that they don't enforce stuff like that. I mean, they have like Chinese guys who buy a fucking Philippine passport. We have Chinese guys in the Philippines who have Filipino birth certificates from the Philippine Statistics Office. You know, that's this yellowish, greenish paper that they just ordered and faked it, and you know, it's extremely dysfunctional. This is
Okay,
what.
and one last thing.
Yeah.
One last thing. They have to follow a certain protocol. When somebody puts a complaint against you, you're going to get a WHO. You're going to get a hold order. You're going to get a blacklisting set up while this is still going on. You're going to get a combination of a hold order, blacklisting for the moment while this is going on until it's resolved, and something else. What else? Certification. You know, they're going to certify and say on letter that, yeah, you know, at this point, because of the complaint, we're going to consider you undesirable until you can prove otherwise. It's not like in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. You see me on camera here. You're actually, it's the opposite. You're guilty until proven innocent. That's the difference in our law systems between here and the United States. Now, they got me down as being all the above, that I'm just terrible, undesirable. But basically, if you do all the research you want, even on ChatGPT, you will find out, it's for your lawyer, that this is simply a fucking complaint. It's low priority to these people, very low priority. It's not that I committed a horrible crime against the state and country. It's nothing like that. It's nothing even resembling that. It's a very low situation that's going on there, and it's not their high priority, bottom line. And since everything is administrative, they got me down as potential undesirable for blacklist, hold orders on me. They got the whole banana. But guess what? That is part of the whole system when somebody makes a report, that they're going to consider this report. They have to follow their protocol. So they're going to label you as this. They're going to put a hold on you. They're going to stop
Yeah,
your
but look,
visa.
the issue is this, Frank. The issue is this: they do not follow these rules and regulation. That's what a lot of people don't understand. It is dysfunctional. I have dealt with these people. Okay, I have dealt with these people with many offices in the Philippines, and it is absolutely people. They lose your documents. They misspell your name. They forget things. It looks like an immigration office, but it's basically just a corrupt institution. Nothing really works. It's really dysfunctional. It's basically the Philippines. It's painful to admit. It's painful to admit, but the Philippines is basically a failed state at this point. The level of corruption, the level of dysfunctionality in all these institutions. I mean, there is a reason why there is mass poverty. There's a reason why there are brownouts. There's a reason why everything gets flooded in the poor areas of the country. I mean, we had a case in I think in Angeles City not too long ago. A building collapsed, and I think like 40 people died. And why? Everybody knows why. Because of corruption. Because they just, the building permits were not real. They used substandard material, and people fucking die because of shit like that. And it's really absolutely dysfunctional. And public transportation. Every now and then you hear that a bus. All these accidents and runs over somebody, or a bridge collapses, and it's fucking horrible. And I would not be surprised, because I hear all these guys, the resolution is real, they are just waiting for enforcement. I think they don't know about this. I think they forgot about it. You might be in a very strange situation.
I don't know about that.
I'm telling you. I'm really telling you, because when they cannot give you the answer, when they cannot give you the paperwork, they might not know where the fucking paperwork is. I mean, they don't know what's going on.
Well, okay, I don't put it past them. Let's put it that way. Okay, they're so barraged with so much shit, with pogo workers and more important shit going on, and murder and all kinds of shit. Yeah, I understand. I understand exactly what you're saying. That is it possible? Yes. It doesn't take, in a simple complaint like this, it doesn't take 2 years, as of April 24th of 2024 to be exact, or the 23rd, that this woman put a complaint in on me, and they can't come to a fucking resolution in 2 fucking years. What does that say about the system? There's something wrong. But part of it is because they also want my visa fees and penalties. It's all about the money. There's 2 things. One is that they want to build up. They want to make money. They want to hold off on this resolution as long as they can. They want to not allow me to do my visa. And it's all, as everybody knows who's listening, is administrative. It's not like Barry, wasn't purposeful. Okay, it's not my fault. Okay, it's administrative. Everything is administrative. The whole case is administrative. Everything is more of a civil matter than it is a criminal matter. It shouldn't be about deportation, anything like that. It should not be about an undesirable. It was a woman who had some gripes with me for a reason having to do with her boyfriend or fiance, and she wanted to get even. Bottom line, she had some heavy-duty money out there to back her up because they didn't like me. That's all it is. That's all the fuck it is. They had to follow their protocol. They're holding off because it means more money for them when I have to pay the overdue fees and fines. Maybe they're hoping that maybe I approach them with something. I don't know. I'm just in my opinion. I don't.
You got disconnected there once again. Let's just wait until you get back.
Okay, it's my battery.
Yeah, you're
back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah,
all
I
right,
can hear you.
We're going to end it here because we've been on quite a while. So I hope that what people get out of these podcasts that we're having is that, number one, I never had anything to hide, and I wouldn't have stayed on YouTube as long as I did if I had something to hide. It's the first thing, if you're guilty
everybody already knows anyway. That's why it's absurd to accuse anyone out there that they're using any information, anything you say on here to contribute to Shah's case. I would like to mention something before we end this podcast here. This is a real story. I witnessed it, and this is 100% real. In the Philippines, when you transfer a land title, it's often a mess. There are different agencies and departments involved. The Registry of Deeds, Bureau of Internal Revenue, the Municipal Hall, Tax Department, blah, blah, blah. And when you transfer a title, a lot of money goes around. Everybody wants to get his or her share. Every department wants to get their share. Now, in the Philippines, there is a law that when somebody, they call it the death tax, when somebody owns a land and they are in the title of that land, you have to transfer the title to somebody who's actually alive. And that has created a lot of problems in the Philippines because a lot of families don't have the money to transfer it. So under the Duterte administration, they came up with a tax amnesty bill, and that was extended several times. Now, this is the real story. I know, and because I benefited from that, I saw and was involved in something like that they transfer a land title to my name, and the land title was in the name of a person who has passed away in the early 80s. And a lot of people, if you would go by the law, would be involved in the inheritance. And you know what they did? They falsified the documents from death certificate to other documents. They even sent somebody else as the recipient or to sign the documents, to appear before all these different departments, to the notary, to get it notarized and get lookalikes, and the documents were all produced, all fake. But at the end of the day, the title was transferred to me, and I have seen the process, and I saw that all these guys, especially in the province, they all know each other, and they do that for a living. The guy that I was dealing with, he had hundreds of land titles in his car, and he is the go-to guy who transfers these titles. And they don't go by the law. They just know a buddy in the tax department, they know somebody at the registry of deeds, and they're all in on it. And it helps the people, because if they would go by the law, by the letter of the law, it would be almost impossible to transfer these fucking titles. And that's when I realized everything in the Philippines is you know, it's unreal. The level of corruption and all that, it's fucking unreal. When I saw that, and of course I'm glad, and I'm openly talking about this because nobody is ever going to do anything about it. But I profited from that, you know. And you can do things like that. I mean, for instance, I also don't have a fucking driver's license, right? I drive around since more than a decade. And I can openly admit that. And when people, when police or MMDA would stop me, I know somebody at LTO, and they would just give me back my documents or make things go away. One time I was caught on the SC text. That's an expressway between Subic and Tarlac, and I was overspeeding. I was in my early 30s. I was overspeeding. I was driving like, I don't know. It's like you're only allowed to drive like 100 kilometers per hour. I was driving like almost 180 or something like that. And at the end of the expressway, these authorities or whatever it is, you know, the guys who run the expressway for security and whatever, they stopped my car and took away my license. I mean the plate, not the license, the plate numbers. You know, the plate.
Yeah.
And the few and I was required to attend a safety seminar or whatever it is, and because I knew somebody at LTO, I just had to pay a little bit something, and then they gave me the plate back, right?
That's how it works. That's how it works.
That's really how it works. So therefore, when people say, you know, it's a done deal, Frank will be deported, the resolution has been signed, I just really don't believe that anymore. Because, you know, in the Philippines, signed documents, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. That's the sad truth. It's just like for people out there who are not in the Philippines, who have not lived in the Philippines, it's unbelievable.
But you're an official at immigration. You can sign a document, but you have to execute it.
Another thing that I want to tell you: the sister of my wife, you know, the one you think doesn't exist. The sister of my wife, just a couple of weeks ago, they won a case. This case was going on for like more than 10, 15 years. The father of her husband, they were involved in a land dispute. And there was some form of corruption that the judge and the lawyer, they were from the other side, they were all in on this, that they falsified documents, that the judge was promised that he would get a big chunk of the land, and the lawyer would also get a big chunk. And then they found out about that, and fast forward, they had to assign the case to another court, and then they fucking won the case. I mean, they're all in on it. It's just fucking. It's mind blowing. The level of corruption. I mean, and also the senators in the Philippines, for instance, the ombudsman of the Philippines, Remulla, he will file cases against several senators because they were involved in flood control projects that were never built. But the government would pay for it somewhere in the fucking province. Let's put it this way. Somebody will come to you and say, we are going to build a fucking, I don't know, a bridge in somewhere on Bantayan, and you would be the head of a construction company, and then you would come up with some fake contract. You will get money from the government, like 1 billion pesos, and then you would just build a fucking, I don't know, just something.
Wait a minute. What do you think they just did? And there's actually going to be a Gaisanos built here. I want to get into that, but we got to get off, but I want to make it quick as I can.
Yeah.
11-story complex is not allowed here. And they had environmental, the DNLR, whatever you want to call it.
DENR, yeah. Department for Environmental and Natural Resources. or something like that.
All right. So, okay. They're still building. They put hold orders on that and all that shit. They're still building. They figure if I get it done, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
If environmental, they're against all environmental rules. People were paid off left and right to build this 11-story.
Yeah.
You're not allowed more than 2 stories here. Now, believe it or not, which is going to help me out if I'm still alive in 2 years or in a year and a half.
Unless you're
they
rich.
Are planning on building Gaisanos. They're going to build a Gaisanos here. It's going to be 2 floors. And I can't wait for that. Oh, my God. I can't wait for that. I hope I'm alive by that time. But they had to get certain permits. But you see, they're legal. They're only going to keep it 2 stories. But they're building 11-story structure. It stands out like a sore thumb when you're coming in with the ferry. It completely ruins the ambiance of the island. You know how many people have been paid off with this shit?
Look, they had a very similar problem in Manila at the Jose Rizal Park in Manila, which is a very important park in Manila, the Jose Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines, and big business wanted to build high-rise buildings nearby, and it would ruin the whole scenery, but they were still able to do it because big business fucking runs this country. The Philippines, it all depends on how much
paid off. Everybody gets everybody gets a cut, and some of them are actually investors in the project too. And somebody in a very high level, an ex-governor, I said it, I heard had some involvement in this building too. They all got their hands dirty and trying to keep them clean. And
That's how they make money, Frank. That's how they make money. That's why they want to get into this political...
People don't make money because they're doing things. People make money because they're cutting corners, and there's taxes they're evading. People make money because they do things the way they're not supposed to, but they're paying off so many people. Like, we have people on here on YouTube that are paying off people to do this and say this about me or do this complaint or something or whatever. My opinion, okay? And now I've even furthered that. Now, I know it to be true, and I know who's been giving money to her and why, because she never had that kind of money for a lawyer. My opinion, okay, that's all it is. I'm allowed that. I'm not going to be taken to court for my opinion. Okay, we're going to have to end this here because I got to find something to eat. We've been on for a long time. And there's a lot of topic matters we can go over, just like what you're talking about. Corruption is really something. You could talk for days on that. And what's going on with immigration with me right now? Well, I couldn't definitively tell you, except I know that they make more money and they procrastinate these things because it means more money built up. I have to pay penalties and stuff. And that's what they're depending on. That's in part what's going on, I'm sure. They want to see the money. They want to hold us foreigners up and take us for all they can fucking get. That's just part of the system out here. Everybody loves the Philippines. There's a lot of things I love about it. I never said I love the government, but it's not my government, okay? I can't go out to a protest or get arrested. I can't get involved in a lot of opinions in the streets and about this kind of stuff. We're a guest here, and I don't care what you got in this RV. I don't care what you fucking got. You are a 13A. You are a guest in this country, and that's how they will treat you as a guest. You are not native to this country. That's it. And they're going to take more of the person who's a native over a complaint over a fucking foreigner because you're dispendable. There's so many foreigners here. We can get rid of him. Say fuck him. Well, no matter, we know she's wrong. We know she's lying, but she is the native. And I don't know, maybe we heard a few things about this guy that can't be used for evidence. It was third-party material, but we're also human and we can make our own opinion about this. He sounds like he's not a good person for this country. We're going to get rid of him just for the fucking halibut, and leave it at that. It doesn't matter what you put in there in evidence. They will do. And I will also tell you something lastly, but, if you got the ombudsman involved, you do anything to create friction with you got to do it on a different level, which I'm doing. If you get an ombudsman, if you have to, you have to. If it's push and shove, you have to. But if you put friction on the immigration, you make them look bad, they'll come up with a resolution for you, real toot sweet.
We lost you there again, Frank. Let's just wait until you get back before we end this show.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, they're going to attack you. They're going to say, okay, you've been pushing for this fucking resolution, you bastard. We're going to give you a resolution. You had the nerve to go to the ombudsman, you bastard. You had the nerve to go to a higher level that's going to make us look bad, you scumbag American. Well, we're going to give you that resolution, just like you wanted. We're going to expedite it. But it's not going to be something that you want. We're going to deport your fucking ass.
I'm of the opinion that that would not be the case. I think they would say, you know what, we can't terminate based on the complaint. It's not enough.
They're going to wait till you
just give me a
self-deport.
fucking renewal.
They're going to wait till you self-deport
Yeah.
or pay your fines,
Yeah.
allow you to pay the fines.
Yeah.
They would hope that you would self-deport, that they don't have to get involved in it. Don't cost them anything in time.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully that you'll self-deport, you'll give up, and you don't want to do that because that will blacklist you. And you have to go through hell and high water to ever get back in. It's like Barry would have to fight it, and it would never work for him, I can tell you that. Mine, it was just a fucking complaint. Let's get it straight. It was a fucking really a civil complaint. It should have been labeled as a civil complaint. I'm out of here. I got to go find something to eat. It's been a pleasure, as usual. We'll talk to you in privately on email, sir. And people could voice their opinion on your show. So I gathered that our first show this morning is already on there now.
I will release that in 1.5 hours. I think it's already uploaded.
Okay.
Yeah, I will give you
Release.
I will inform you. It will be released immediately. Yeah.
Okay, man. Sounds good. I think we got a lot of shit out today that we should have. I have no regret of anything I talked about today.
It was a good show. Yeah,
You
I
wanna know the
appreciate
truth
it.
about me?
Yeah.
I'm very open. I'm very open. There's nothing to hide here. I'm not hiding behind anybody, anything. I'm not hiding behind the law. You know, as I said, I can walk by the police department. I have no fear. My life hasn't stopped. It goes on every day.
Listen,
Good or
nobody
bad
is
that
going
might
to
be in my life.
file anything against you. You have seen how fucking complicated it is, and most of the people on here are
absolutely.
anonymous. 80% of them are outside the country, and the rest of them do not
Yes.
want to get involved in any legal trouble
No, they
in the
don't,
Philippines.
because if they are found out to be lying, they could be held for perjury. And the
Therefore,
last
you
thing
can
they
say
want
whatever
to
you want to say. That's the point. That's
yes,
the point.
they don't want to go in a horrible detention center in this country, and I know enough about it to know the details of it. I look that shit up all the time in case I ever found myself. I know what to expect. Believe me, I've been there, done that. I know a lot about it, more than some people that you actually have to be in there to know about it truthfully, but I know enough about it that it's not a place I want to be. If anybody's smart out there, if you're perjuring yourself, you better come clean or something, because your ass, woman, man, or whatever you are, you could wind up in there. Is a good possibility. Just don't make fucking false reports on people, because if you found out that you harbored, aided, and abetted, we already got proof on that. And if you're perjuring yourself, which he has, and we're going to prove that, it's going to be in my corner. The ball is now going to be, and when it comes to that point, will be in my corner only. And I could say yay or nay. I could do a personal case on her, or I could leave it be. Or they, on their own accord, will say, wait a minute, we can't let this person get away. Look what they did in our office. They created fucking paperwork. They made us look bad. They made us believe that this guy was a mean guy and a real candidate to be an undesirable and out of this fucking country. You lied to us, bitch, is what they're going to say. You lied to us. And we don't like that. And they could turn around, and the DOJ or prosecutors could turn around and say, we're going to get her for aiding and abetting and harboring this fucking criminal. It's on record. The agents were there. We could find the agents. It's not a problem. The lawyer was there. We can do this. We can do this. And they could if they want. Or it's just perjuring alone. That's even another case aside from the aiding, abetting, and harboring a witness. She don't understand what she's under. She doesn't have a clue because she doesn't want to believe it, or somebody's feeding her information that ain't. Could happen. I may decide to do something when this is all over. I may not. Or they may decide totally opposite of me. Nothing to do with me. Yeah. May decide to do something. She's in a really precarious situation that she don't fucking realize. I'm out of here. I got to go at this exact second. Thank you, Aloe, sir. Maybe I understand a little bit more about you. Maybe you understand a little bit more about me, and maybe the viewers understand me a little bit better. I'm not a bad guy. Okay, I'm not a perfect person. I've done my bullshit on YouTube as everybody, but I've never done anything like most of these people have to go as far as they did and what they did. It's just not right. I don't agree with a lot of the shit you did, but you explained yourself out. I listened. Okay, that's it. Maybe people will understand you a little bit better. Maybe understand me a little bit better. But that's all I have to say. And we've said quite a bit in several hours. I don't know how long it's been. It's probably been 3 fucking hours for all I know. I haven't talked to my own girlfriend. I haven't talked to my girl. I haven't even seen her in 3 hours because I'm in a room talking privately to you, and I change rooms.
I just wanted to mention, by the way, I just wanted to mention because I just checked on my iPhone here. The other podcast is now ready to be released, and I will, because it took a while because of the Wi-Fi here where I'm at. I'm not at home. I'm using my hotspot on my iPhone here, and it's ready to be released. Since you said you will have dinner now, I think I will release it by 6:30 p.m. Would that be a good time? Okay, 6:30 p.m. it is. I'll send you the link, okay?
That'll be perfectly fine, and I could kind of review. I'm not sure I'm going to listen to all of it because I know what I said, but I'll be interested to see the responses on there because there will be actually live chat. Although it's not a live show, I want people to understand they're not live shows.
It's a podcast,
but they're live in the sense that the chat is live. That is real time.
Pre-recorded.
But the recording
podcast,
is recorded. Right.
Yeah.
So as long as people understand that. Okay, man. Been great chatting with you. We'll probably talk to you on email or something. We'll go over the show because you're going to be comments on there, and you're probably going to be commenting to me on an email about what somebody said. I'm sure you will.
Yeah, so but just chill out. Just chill out and take it easy when people say something you don't like, because we have enough time to address each and every one of these comments, just the way we did on this podcast and on the last 2 or 3 podcasts. So you always have the opportunity to talk about it anyway. Yeah,
all right,
I know.
We're out of here as of right now.
Okay, good. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. That was Frank Battaglia. My name is Aldo de Winter, and this is my podcast.